Alrighty, guys. Well, hold on here. Oh, there we go. It kicked in now. So we should be good to go. Hey, Penguin! Thanks for being here, my friend. Guys, start tapping that screen. Let's get to 5K as quick as possible. Um, I think we're going to have Justin up a little bit tonight. Crystal should be here tonight. It should be a good night.
And Crystal is here. Hey, you guys, start tapping the screen, get to 5,000 likes and 100 shares. I don't see any shares yet. So if you are here, hold down your screen, hold your finger on the screen. You'll get a list of everybody you know and love and start sending it out to all
Thank you,
of
Sam.
them. And let's get to 100 shares ASAP, please. 5,000 likes ASAP, please. And thank you. It's so good for you guys to be here tonight. We know you could be anywhere. Yay, Sam Raiders! It was fun over at Sam's, but we did have a weirdo over there.
yeah, I was watching it on and off. I'm not sure who's playing Zelda.
My husband's playing Zelda. My hubby.
Nice. I love Zelda. Which one is it? The newer one, like on the Switch, or is it an older one?
Yeah, it's the Switch one. What's it called, babe? Tears of the Kingdom or something like that?
Yeah. I haven't played that one yet, but yeah.
Oh, hey, Cyber.
Thanks for that. Thanks for the self-raid. Joyful Prostate in the house.
Hey, Ken. Hey, you guys, welcome in as you join in. Please don't forget to share the live, like the live, send the heart me's. Thank you, Hetty. And make sure after you send the heart me's that you go up and collect your team points. Hey, Glitter, how are you? Thanks for being here. Thank you. Hey, Dugald, welcome in. So good to see you. Rainbow Rev, Queenie, Felix, Star, you guys, welcome in, etc. Thank you so much. It's so good to see everybody. Yeah, there was this guy over there that was like, no, you have to boot me. That's the way I like it. What? He wouldn't leave. He wanted to be booted because that's the way he likes it. Okay?
Thank you, Dugald. Thank you. Yeah, we had, I thought about not doing this topic because I saw that Forrest was doing it, and I was like, crap, I already, was ready to do it. But then I decided to just go ahead and do it anyway.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you did. Also, then that, Catholic, I forget what his name is. It's Catholic something, right? He was over there too. And he just said the dumbest thing. And then Scientific went to ask him a question. And he was like, no, the host hasn't answered me or whatever. And the host was like, Sam was like, no, answer Scientific or whatever. And he rage quit. What is wrong with these people? All right, you guys, we need 100 more likes before Joyful can bring up the guests. We need 55 more shares. So if you want us to get going, I need you to start sharing out that live. I need 100 shares immediately, please. And also, Joyful's looking for more subbies. We need to get him back up to where he was. So if you haven't subscribed, please think of doing so today. You're subscribed to a lot of stupid stuff. You didn't even download Rocket, whatever that thing is that tells you what you're subscribed to. So you're paying for all these subscriptions that you're not using. Why don't you go cancel some of those subscriptions you're not using and then come subscribe to people right here on TikTok like Joyful, myself, Benny, excuse you, honey. Subscribe to us because we give you more bang for your buck. If you've already subscribed, think about giving out a few for gifts tonight. People in the chat love it when you gift out subbies, so think about that.
And more burps for your buck, too.
Doug said you get more burps for your buck, too.
More burps for your buck. Doug. Praise Doug.
Yep, she is always... I thought of... Not really. I don't subscribe to anything, especially since my coma. Oh. Okay. Guys, we are getting ready to kick this off. Crystal, how are the shares looking?
At 100.
Okay, we're at 100. We can do it. We can do
Right
it.
on, right on.
Also,
Happy Pride, KJ. Happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride, everybody.
Hey
Woohoo.
Cal, thank you for the $5 super chat on the horizontal. That goes towards the community. If you do want to get super chats to go towards Joyful, you got to make sure you're on his live. But I'm sure Joyful is more than happy that you're contributing to the community.
Supporting the community is just as important as anything.
Yeah, that money is used to pay, help pay people's bills when they're in need, or give them a little something if they have a
Medical bills. If people are homeless, we try to help them with that. Food.
Dude,
All kinds of things, huh, Benny?
Done so much, yeah.
Hey, Chef, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Goth,
Chef Nelly, are you there?
they're not loading. Goth, thank you
okay,
for the
they're
super
loading.
chat. He says, "Hey, Joyful, hope surgery went well." Well, surgery hasn't happened yet, but it will be happening. We've just been waiting on getting funds together because there's so much you have to pay up front to get it.
Yeah,
So-
Joyful's got a huge stick up his ass right now, and he needs surgery to get that out. That's what we couldn't tell everybody during the
Sometimes you don't see the little barbs hanging out of it, and then it just gets a little hairy.
It's one of those, once it's in, it ain't coming out without a surgery.
Yeah. My wife is actually the one getting the surgery. She has degenerated discs in her neck. And it's just really hard for her to do anything with her neck or and so hemorrhoids. I have had hemorrhoids, but I didn't need surgery for them. No.
Whoa, TMI! What is going on in here? Don't make
Well,
me...
I'm responding to the chats over here.
I have a terrible hemorrhoid story about.
No, you
Jail
two
I
men are
worked
not
at.
going to turn this show into a hemorrhoid fest or whatever.
It's not my. It wasn't my hemorrhoid. It was.
If you are over in the YouTube, I'm gonna put up a link to where you guys can join this conversation. If you disagree with Jesus being a
Hemorrhoids from
liar,
Jesus.
or if you believe that he rose from the dead, and we can talk about those two topics that are up here. J Cal with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, J Cal. Praise Doug. Amen and amen. Especially since Joel just came into the comments. Praise Doug.
Praise Joel, though.
Hey,
But also
YouTube,
praise
I
Joel
wanna
because
say-
dump
Oh, yeah,
the
praise
book. Joel. That's the conclusion we come to. Leaving.
I want to say,
Y'all, you ain't
I want to say
leaving.
hi to YouTube because I always forget. Hi, YouTube. How is everybody doing over there? Thank you to all our mods over on YouTube. You guys are amazing. Just wanted to
You
say
are.
that to
You're
you.
moderate.
Also, to the mods, I messaged Justin. He should be getting me access to his horizontal feed because I know there's a lack of mods over there. And once I get
I
that,
bet you want access to his horizontal feed. Oh, I don't even know what that means.
I'm more of a, I like to do the horizontal dance with Justin every once in a while.
All right, guys. So I want to thank you all. As a lot of you know, they held a thing for me while I was busy to raise some money for me, and I got a lot of support. It all said "fuck you, Joyful," so that was cool. That was cool. It didn't make me feel near as awkward, but still, I just want to thank everybody who did contribute from the bottom of my heart because it was much needed. I was trying to make it without going that way, but yeah. I appreciate everybody, Justin, Crystal, and Benny, who did a lot of the organizing of that, and also just everybody that contributed.
That
I can't
was
name-
really fun, by the way.
I can't name you all by name, or I would, but there were a lot of you that contributed, and I'm very grateful.
Jim Russell, if you're listening,
Jim
you gave
Russell, yes.
quite a bit of money on the horizontal feed of Justin's.
Yes, he
That
did.
was awesome. Oh, Chad, you found me on Facebook?
Right on, right on. All right, let's see. I'm going to put the link up here in the YouTube, and then hopefully we can get some
I want to talk
some
about
ops
my
up in here.
favorite story of Jesus lying tonight. I hope we get to talk about the festival that he lied about for no reason because he's a weirdo.
Yep.
He did a whole Hannah Montana thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's always how I picture it. Like he's Hannah Montana, and she's like, "I'm sorry, friends, I can't go with you to the festival." And then she's like, "Go on." And then they leave, and then she Hannah Montanas and switches her identity, and then she sneaks over to the festival, and they're like, "Oh, hey," and they don't realize it's still her. Like that's how I picture Jesus.
Hanna-Barbera?
Hanna-Barbera.
Benny.
Doug is on one tonight. Doug is on one tonight. Praise Doug.
It's Hanna-Barbera, Doug, and that's an old cartoon studio.
It's
I thought it was
pronounced
Barbera.
Barbera.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm
It's
pretty sure it
pronounced
is.
Barbera. Yeah.
I lived it.
Yeah, because they used to say it when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Hanna-Barbera. And yes, we are taking call-ins, Jesse.
Yeah, we watched it live.
Oh,
He watched it live, Benny. You don't know.
I watched.
That's how old he is.
Do you remember they used to do like the Laugh Olympics with the
Yeah.
other Hanna-Barbera like characters? I love
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's Barbera.
Barbera.
Amen.
I thought it was Barbara.
Let's see here. We had a guest, but then they went away. The Flintstones were about Doug. Sure were, Justin. Sure were.
Palestino family.
They were inside of the rock. Amen. Benny boy. So, what do you think about Jesus being a liar?
Well, first off, I don't really know if Jesus can be a liar because you know where I stand.
Yeah, you're a mythicist.
I don't really believe that Jesus. Well, at least for sure, I don't believe that the Jesus of the Bible ever existed.
Oh yeah,
But like maybe a guy named Jesus that they like went with it. But then even then, he was this like probably an apocalyptic like street preacher that was lying because the apocalypse didn't happen. So yeah, he was just always a liar.
Yeah, for sure. May Doug stay hard for you and the rock of your foundation. Amen. Goth. Guys, hopefully we get some ops in here. We have been having the hardest time getting ops. That's why I've been changing through topics so much lately. But it seems like this time it didn't help. Yeah, Jesus in name only. That is kind of where I would be. That is kind of where I would be.
Vagino? Vaguely Jesus in name only. Vagino.
Common was the name Jesus in that day. From what I've heard, it was pretty common, but I haven't really looked into it myself. That's just what I've been told. Let me see.
But see, I'm not like the Jesus mythicist. I do want to make that distinction. Like I'm not like in with the like weird conspiracy like, oh, Rome created this. Like, yeah, it's cool and it's plausible, but like I don't know. We don't know that.
Yep, definitely don't know that. To us, it's false.
It's just,
what is false?
There's just no eyewitnesses. There was no historical evidence.
Nope.
No, nothing contemporary. I mean, nothing from the actual time. So yeah, if you do not agree with that, get on up. Slip into the little box here.
Yeah, basically just looking for any ops that we can muster right now. Let's see.
Hey, Caballero, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
It's 22.
Are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
Oh yeah, very much so. I was just wondering about your claims.
What's the neck man?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm just wondering what claims you guys are making so I can write them down.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Jesus was a liar.
Okay.
Do you
Why?
want to know why?
Yeah.
All right, so there's many reasons. The Bible
Wait,
talks about things.
hold on. I'm gonna get my notes up real quick. Give me a second.
Okay.
Is he taking notes? This is like kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Well, Caballero gets his notes together. Make sure you keep tapping that screen, liking the live, sharing it out, doing all the good things. And also, don't forget, Joyful has a gift goal of the hats and mustaches. So if you got the coins, send those up. And also, please
got 'em up.
send gifts up to the panel. Keeps
Right
the
up.
live pushed out.
Oh, can you hear
Right
me?
on. Yep. So the first one we're going to go to is comes from Matthew 16,
All right.
verses 27 through 28. Jesus
27,
makes this
28.
claim. He says, "For the Son of Man is to come with his angel."
I didn't hear you.
All right, it's Matthew 16, 27 through 28.
Okay.
And so it says, "For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." And we know what this is referring to because when you go to Matthew 25, it explains exactly what it's going to be like when Jesus comes with his angels, and that's Judgment Day. That's when he comes and he separates the sheep from the goats.
So the claim would be Jesus says people of that generation won't taste death.
Yep, some of them would not have tasted death before he came back. Correct.
Won't taste death. Well, I guess I know some info. I don't know if there would be like a rebuttal, right? Because but Jesus said, right, even in death, we're still alive through Christ, right? And obviously the apostles, being who Jesus appointed, right? I don't know if you know much about Catholicism, right? But our theology talks about how the saints are alive in heaven, and we see that
Yep.
in the Book of Revelations, where the elders in heaven, being the saints, right, present our prayers to God. So obviously, at least right now, there's still currently some people alive where their bodies would be dead, but they would still be alive in heaven, so to speak.
Yeah, I get that, but it's not talking about a spiritual death, and we know that because it says in the Bible that the spiritual death comes after the judgment, and it says only some of them will not have tasted death, so some of them would have tasted death. So it really is not...
And is that speaking to the apostles, or who is he speaking to?
He was talking to the disciples directly. If you go up a couple verses to the beginning of this in 24, it says, "Then Jesus told his disciples," and that's where this comes from. So he was talking to his disciples and saying some of them would die and some of them would not.
Have you considered that maybe it would have been, right? It would have been because remember during when Jesus was presenting the Eucharist, right, in John 6, he was telling his disciples that unless you eat the flesh and drink the blood of the Son of Man, then you'll have no life in you. And a lot of the disciples, right, were like, "Oh my goodness, that's a really harsh truth he's saying." They literally like walked away from Jesus, right? Like not partaking in the eating of the bread and wine. So, so there were even disciples who straight up rejected Jesus' gift that offers life, right? And maybe that, and I assume, right? Because remember, I'm very much I try to be knowledgeable of these things, right? That the ones that would taste death would be the ones that rejected him.
Okay, so my next point would come from John 7.
Oh, brother,
This is
would you have like a rebuttal for that?
Yeah, my rebuttal is that it's definitely not talking about a spiritual death, but a physical death, and we know that all of them are dead.
Yeah, but how does it specify what kind of death it would be?
Yeah, but we know that spiritual death only comes after the judgment, and if this was going to happen before he comes back to judge, that would mean that it's not a spiritual death. Or the Bible's wrong when it says that the spiritual death comes after the judgment.
also in James it says that if you die in the spirit, you also die physically. And I guess we should say unalive because we're not allowed to say die, death, and all that. So we need to start saying unalive. Anyway,
Yep.
so the Bible tells you that if you unalive spiritually, you are also physically unalive. So you can't have one without the other.
You can't have one without the other. All right, so I'm trying to understand your point, right? So the point would be, right, and again, I'd like to ask, so can you, what verse is it specified, the deaths, and can you, like, go over that again, if you don't mind?
1628.
Yeah, it's in 1628. It says, "Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste unalivement before they see the Son of Man coming in His kingdom."
Will not taste before they see the Son. Okay, so I guess the claim would be that some of the disciples that are currently with Jesus will not face, the unalivement, right, before they see the Son of Man, right? But where again does it specify like it's a physical death? I mean,
Okay,
does it share
yeah.
a spiritual death as well?
Okay, so a spiritual. How we know that it's not a spiritual death is because in Revelations 20, it says that after the judgment, then is the second death. They are thrown into hell, or hell and death are thrown into the lake of fire and are destroyed, and everything that inhabits it. And this is the second death.
That's
So
Revelation
this
2014. Sorry.
Yep. So that tells us that until the end has come, judgment has happened, there is no spiritual death. Either that or there's three deaths, and Revelation's wrong when they call that the second death.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused, but I guess we can move forward, bro. I know that this is probably a claim I could probably look up online. I don't mean this to be rude, but I can probably find somebody to articulate it in a way I would understand. But we can move on to the next point.
Yeah, sure. So Jesus in John 7, so down in starting in verse 6, it says, "Jesus said to them, 'My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me, because I testify of it that its works are evil. You go up to this fest. I am not going up, for my time has not come.'"
All right.
Do you know what?
Oh, sorry. Continue.
Do you know what Jesus does promptly after that?
What?
Goes to the festival in disguise.
Which festival?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. What's that? Woodstock.
I said Woodstock.
Give me 1 second. I can't remember what festival it is, but I'm sure it's in here.
Is it the Saturnalia like equivalent? That was
Right.
going on?
Well, I guess the festival, the name, I could figure that one after. But what was the claim? Like, if you could...
Yeah, the claim is Jesus said he wasn't going to go to the festival, but then he sneaks to the festival after verbatimly saying he's not going, but they should go. He dresses in a disguise and goes anyway. That seems like a lie to me. Does that seem like a lie to you?
Well, I'd like to do more research before I come to a conclusion. That's why I'm coming.
The reason why you know that is, by the way, Justin says it was the Feast of Tabernacles. The reason why we know that was a lie, that was deception and nothing else, is because he literally disguises himself. And that tells you that he is trying to deceive people and that he's a liar.
So the claim would be that Jesus is a liar because he went in disguise.
Yeah, because he lied and then he went.
He went up into the temple at the festival and began to teach. Like,
If he began to teach at the temple.
Yep.
Was the festival in the temple or was that somewhere else?
I'm guessing the temple was nearby.
So,
This is when Jesus was Hannah Montana. I'm telling you guys, he was first Hannah, and then he had to change into Montana so he could sing at the temple.
No, but did he like was the festival a separate area, or was the festival like in the temple?
So let's read. Hold on. Let me read you like kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. So in John 7:6, Jesus is saying, "My time has not come, but your time is always here. The world cannot hate you, but hates me because I testify against that its work of evil. Go to the festival yourselves. I'm not going to this festival. For my time has not yet fully come," and that's Jesus. After saying this, he remained in Galilee. But the next paragraph says, after his brothers had gone to the festival, he also went, not publicly, as it were, but in secret. The Jews were looking for him at the festival and saying, "Where is he?" And there was a considerable complaining about him among the crowds, while some were saying, "He's a good man." Others were saying, "No, he's deceiving us," deceiving the crowd. Yet no one would speak openly about him for fear of the Jews. And about the middle of the festival, Jesus went up into the temple and began to teach. And the Jews were astonished at it, saying, "How does this man have such a learning when he's never been taught?" Yeah, and then it goes on and on.
So was the festival? So was the festival in the temple, or was it by the temple?
If it was a festival, the Feast of the Tabernacles, I'm guessing since Tabernacles involved, it's like at the temple or like outside of it, like maybe like in front of it.
And like when he told the disciples to go to the to go to the festival, like, what was it like what were they ordering them to do? Like just go and like, celebrate, or like go and preach?
Let's see.
They were going to go to the Feast of the Tabernacles.
Oh yeah,
They were already going.
Oh, yeah,
And he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to go."
Yeah, but like, what did he like send the apostles for to do there?
He told them to go ahead, like, go on without me. I'm not going to go. Like, if you were all going to the movies together and you decided you weren't going to go, you would tell us, "Go on, go to the movies. I'm not going to go." That's what Jesus did to them.
Yeah, but I'm kind of confused because I think of it like this, right? It's like me telling my friend, "Oh, by the way, you guys can go watch. You guys can go watch the movie, right? But I'm not gonna go watch the movie with you, right? But I go in the movie theater because I work there. Like I'm there, but I'm not, watching.
No,
the movie.
Jesus didn't go to work there. He went. He lied about it. Then he went in secret to go to the feast because he was a Jewish man. So he went to the feast just like all the Jewish people do. He just did it secretly.
Didn't you say he went there to preach?
He may have preached, but like he wasn't one of the staff.
He sucked at it. Believe it.
I'm a bit confused at that point. Can we move on to the next one?
Yeah, the next one's going to come from along the same lines as the first one. Jesus said that in Matthew 24 that he would return before that generation had passed away.
Matthew 24.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, sorry.
Give me a second. My computer is acting funny.
I got you.
I'm trying to get it up here for us.
Sorry, I got a cold.
Hey, while Joyko gets that up, you guys, we have been live for a half hour now. We are sitting at only 17,000 likes. There is 100 of you in here. I need you guys to start tapping the screen. If we are not at 30,000 likes in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to shut off the comments. You guys need to start tapping. These things really affect the live, and we need to get it pushed out into the algorithm so we can get the ops up here, okay?
Let's see here.
So let's just recap here. So Jesus said, before I come into my kingdom, some of you will meet death. Or he also said, some of you won't taste death before I come to my kingdom, which is suggesting to me the second coming, right? Like the judgment day.
Hey, hang on one second, Benny Caballero. If you could please mute when you're not talking, so that way Here, just mute whenever you're not talking.
Oh, sure, no issue.
Now, as far as that goes, I mean, there is an argument to be made that this could be in reference to the Transfiguration, since in that chapter, like right after Jesus says that, he does go up with like Peter and whoever for the Transfiguration. So you could be like, okay, well, that was him coming into his kingdom. So, possibly that. But then it would also suggest then that within those 6 days, people before him would have had to have died. And there's no mention of anybody dying within those 6 days.
Within those 6 days?
Yeah, so either will taste death while others don't, and that second coming is like 2,000 years later, or still yet to come, or it's the Transfiguration, which is only 6 days from when he spoke. So that would mean that some people died or unalived within that 6 day period, which seems like a pretty quick time.
I'm pretty sure Jesus.
They didn't.
I'm pretty sure Jesus' father passed away before that. But I don't know if he was like an active disciple though. Sorry.
Who? Sorry, I didn't catch you on that part.
I'm pretty sure Jesus' father died before he came back.
Oh, like his stepdad or God?
Yeah. Oh, not his dad. Not God. Joseph.
Joseph. Okay. I don't know if Joseph was considered a disciple, I guess.
I'm pretty sure his mom was, because after Jesus.
No. The disciples are the 12 disciples. Mom doesn't count. Dad doesn't count. Joey down the street doesn't count.
Well, I know
There's 12. We know their names, and he was talking to them specifically, and he was saying to them specifically, some of you specifically standing right here will still be alive.
Wait, what was funny, Schley? I don't know what was funny.
But his disciples, right? Generally, even in John 6, right, referring to the disciples that left, they were literally referred to as a disciple as well, alongside the apostles.
Right. You're not listening. He was talking to the actual 12 disciples. And so if I was talking to you, Benny, and Joyful, and I said some of you are still going to be on this live tonight, and I'm going to be asleep, am I talking about all the people who go on live every day on TikTok, or am I talking to the three of you?
I would say you're talking to us and maybe the people listening.
Is this during the Last Supper? Or is this like a separate conversation?
What is going on during that?
Well, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Oh, I'm talking to my daughter, trying to get this password.
Oh yeah. Whatever happened to the Matthew 24 thing? Do you guys remember that?
So, I mean, that one is saying similar things. Like, what was it, 24? Or surely...
Just the verse. I could probably find the claim online, but if you guys could give me at least the verse, that'd probably work out.
I think, Joyful, what was that verse for Matthew 24?
Matthew 24, I do believe... maybe 29? 32. Yes, 24:32. Justin had it in the chat.
24 to 32?
Yep.
I'll look into it for sure. You guys have any other points? Or the ones that have?
Yeah, I mean, there's other things like that Jesus says in Matthew 10, 20, I do believe. Or, no, it's 12, 12
yeah,
10.
There's multiple parts where Jesus is saying, this
he's coming back
generation
before.
will not pass before I come back. And, you will not unalive before I come back. And that's, to me, hinting that he believes his, return, the judgment day, was, very, very soon. That was kind of his way of saying, his off, Jesus-y way of saying, I'm going to be coming back for the judgment day within your lifetime.
Well, look, it's to be more specific, right? Did he say it was gonna? Did he say specifically it was for the judgment day or for his resurrection?
Yeah, when he comes back with his angels, he explains exactly what that is in Matthew 25. He says, "When I come back with my angels, I'm going to separate the sheep from goats. One will go on the left, one will go on the right, and one will go on into eternal life, and one will go on into eternal punishment."
Ah, I see. I see. I kind of get it. But that's in Matthew 12.
25.
No, that was Matthew 6, when Matthew 16 says specifically that he is coming back with his angels. But we know that in Matthew 24, it's him coming back for the last time, because it goes through all of the end time things that will happen. The trumps will be blown. There will be great tribulation like never before, and all of that. And then he says, "Surely I tell you, this generation will not pass away before they see the Son of Man coming."
All right. And what about the Matthew 12? I'm still kind of waiting on that one.
Yeah, that tells he's telling the disciples about going out and talking to witness, and he tells them before they preach to all the different towns of Israel that he would be back. The Son of Man will come before that place, and he was already there.
What was the verse? I mean, I could probably find it, but like, if
Yeah, I'm having problems with my computer. I had to do a hard restart, and now it's
I
like
can
making me
look
jump
it up
through.
for you. I'm sorry. Tell me some little keywords for it
I have
again.
my actual book. I don't have the computer in front of me.
Yeah, before you witness to all the towns in Israel.
Okay, I'll find it for you.
that's probably gonna be the last one. I gotta do something after this, but I appreciate it though. Sure.
No, it's a good discussion. We really appreciate the respectful tone that you've been taking. And
Oh, that's no issue. I've been trying to get better at that. I realize that I've been pretty aggressive when I give this kind of take, so I kind of want to get better at that.
well, and you've presented counter arguments, and you're writing things down. Like, we can't ask for any more from.
Okay, I think it's. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, you're fine.
It's Matthew 10:23, I believe. When you are persecuted in one city, flee to the next. Truly, I tell you, you will not reach all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes.
Alrighty. Well, I really appreciate you guys' time for sure. You guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you. I'm gonna do some research.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you
Have a
too.
good
Thanks
day.
for being
You're
here.
welcome
Sorry
back.
for the technical difficulties here, where I'm trying to get back up.
God bless you.
Caballero, one last thing. Like, if you look at apologetics, they'll probably have 6 different answers to each one of these. Some will say it's the transfiguration. Others will say, this was not yet to come. Or some will say that, no, John himself hasn't died, unalived yet, because that's what the Mormons believe. And
Mormons. We don't touch the Mormons.
so I would just say, make sure you're looking at everything, read it for yourself, and let us know what you find.
Yeah, for sure. I love myself in the Bible. I'll stay followed for sure. Maybe I'll come back to do rebuttals or whatever. You guys have a good one though.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man. Guys, I'm about back up and running, I do believe, but I might be without a computer.
Well,
unfortunately,
I have you casted on horizontal.
No. I've got that one running with the YouTube. It's my one to look up Bible verses.
Oh.
I can help you with that if you need to. I just need little keywords. Okay. I've got my iPad here.
Or Joyful could bust out with the actual Bible, and
I've ripped out the only hardback Bible I even own. Has most of the pages ripped out of it.
Oh, I've been
from demonstrations. So,
there's a Gideon when you need them.
Right.
Facts. All right. I think I might be back up and going. The only issue otherwise I'm going to have, guys, is it's going to take me a minute to get Video Ninja back up. But if you are over there in Video Ninja, just give me a minute here, and we will.
Do you ever look at someone and think,
Nope.
We
Yeah.
were having some troubles with Video Ninja, but then that one guy he was awful.
Yeah, we've had some awful guests over there. I'm worried about hell. Yeah, that is a hard part, Omar. Or, just one second, was that? No, that's Joey. Joey White, that is a hard part of deconstructing, is getting over the fear of hell. That is one of the biggest hurdles I had to jump. And getting past that, getting out of Christianity completely was this fear of hell. But even when I was having those issues coming out, like, I think Matt Dillahunty was the first person I heard talk about how foolish it was to be worried about hell because everybody's going to hell in other religions. So, and that kind of opened my eyes, like, yeah, that's true. Like, I should have been just as scared of going to the Muslim hell as going to the Christian hell. Based on that logic. But yeah. Guys, we may be back up and running on this computer.
I want to go to, like, a really cool
Chromebooks
hell.
are worthless.
Like, I want to go to, like, maybe a hell from a religion we haven't even heard about yet. That, you know, where their hell might be, like, really kind of like a 70s nightclub, you know, where you have no secret password to get in or something like that. I think that's the kind of hell I'd like to go to.
You know, I was watching this movie last night called The Void, and there's like kind of a hell / alternate dimension in that movie. Weird movie, kind of wild. But it made me think about, like, oh well, maybe hell could be like another, like, alien dimension or something, that eldritch horrors are hanging out, like Stephen King's Pennywise, stuff like that. That sounds actually kind of like possibly entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys all for being here. Let's keep tapping them likes, sharing out the live. Hopefully we can get some more ops up in here. We'll probably go till 7, and if we are still opless over here on TikTok, we will do a restart and
Topless?
maybe go with...
You want me to get topless?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Not on my live.
That's just too much for Joyful to handle, Ben.
Yeah, out on live. I don't want people seeing me get all...
I'll put my shirt back on.
They don't need to see that, Benny.
Or smell it.
Yep, definitely drop the book. You'll trigger... Yeah, the pastor might show up if you take off your shirt. Short story. Well, yes. I don't have any short stories like Pastor does. He has some good short stories. I do not.
Quick short story. You want a peek? Whoop! Nip slip.
Oh my
That's
God.
my short story. That's the beginning, middle, and end right there.
Hey, Benny, can you email me a link to the... Because all of my apps are reloading. Can you email me a link to be a director in the Video Ninja?
Email it, or so?
Yeah, through email would probably be the only way I know to get it right now with the way my computer's being.
What is your?
I will never use another Chromebook for the rest of my life.
I don't know.
It
if
is
I
just
have
horrible.
Oh, here we go.
Benny, we've emailed things to each other.
Let's see. HTTPS colon.
That, and you know my email because of YouTube. Oh no, it's my wife's YouTube. Yes, Chromebooks are trash. I wish I wouldn't have got it, but hindsight is 20/20.
I sent it.
Thank you. And then we will get that pulled up, and then I will be able to get back on Video Ninja.
Oh,
It is
Justin, if you're on a computer, send my Mr. President email invite to be like a manager or an editor, so I can get some mods for your horizontal feed, because it's driving our current mods crazy that they can't like moderate over there. But no rush.
I don't know that you got muted, Chassit, but if you are a Christian, go ahead and get up in this box and let's talk about it. Squeeze up in my little box. I am ready for somebody to get up in my box here tonight.
It has been tough to get people, I feel like, lately. Even like
Dude,
Mezzo,
it has been horrible.
Mezzo the other day was having some difficulties. It's like, I've never seen Mezzo like have difficulty getting people.
Yeah.
But it just took some time.
I'm not trying to be
discuss
on
some
live.
things. We could hash out a few things like
What are some other reasons you think Jesus was a liar, Benny?
well, okay, this is one thing I don't think Jesus was a liar about, though. This is one thing he told truthfully, which is that he would separate, like brother from sister and like split the houses 2 by 3. That's very much going on. And that would probably be the only prophecy he ever fulfilled.
Yeah, Cyber, we haven't even been getting any takers from over on YouTube.
Where you at viewer-wise on YouTube right now?
Right now, 86.
And how long have you been live for?
An hour.
Because I will usually... I very rarely will I hit 400, but I'll usually be up in the 300s for about the first hour. And it seems like after the first hour or so, YouTube seems to quit doing stuff with the shorts, because then it slowly drops off from there.
I've had it to where it'll start you out without putting it on, and then like maybe like an hour in, or like once
That's usually how it is for me. It takes a while.
Then it'll push you out. But now they have the YouTube Shorts feed, and they have the YouTube like live feed. So I think they're like figuring things out with that too.
Well, you are more than welcome to, up there at the top of the chat, there's a pinned website where you can come and talk to me and explain to me how I'm wrong. See, here's the problem. You just crying in the chat that I am wrong doesn't do anything for anybody. It's just you crying into the void.
That like really gets my goat, like explain why we're wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to hop down
can't.
real quick. I just wanted to give my favorite lie that Jesus gave. He insinuated that there was going to be a second coming. Fairly certain he unalived a virgin. So there can't be a second coming. Just saying.
Hi, guys.
I'm Madison. Can I
Well,
get your
thank you
age?
for being there,
What was that?
Cyber.
I kind of think that all of you are watchers, and I took down 25 of your leaders. And this is what you guys sound like.
Madison. Can I? Madison.
You're going to the underwear.
Oh my God! Shut the fuck up! Can I get your age for TikTok purposes? You can unmute and tell me your age.
Madison, can we be an adult?
I sent you a invite to unmute.
She came up crashing out.
We can't hear you if you're talking right now, by the way. We muted you. So if you want to talk to us, you have to unmute yourself. Hit the little microphone. We can't do it for you. We can only invite you. Thank you for all the presents. Hi here.
Thank you, Charlie. I do eat a lot of salads. I love salad. Salad is one of my favorite things.
I'll toss a salad here and there.
All right, Madison. Well, I'm going to drop you down. You go take out some more of our leaders, okay, honey?
What was she talking about? Watchers?
I think Madison has been on some people's lives that I think I've seen her on like Ian's live before doing the same thing. Yeah, Lazarus. Apparently she thinks atheists have leaders like churches do. No, we don't have leaders that touch children and stuff. We are kind of a different type of group.
Oh, I thought she was talking about like watchers, like the 3 watchers that are like the Nephilim something or other. I don't know.
Add a label. Are you with us? And what is your age? Over on video.
Was that me?
You're gonna have to shut off the feed.
That's
no,
me.
you're definitely. Oh, is it? You just started? Oh, okay.
I just got in. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Honey.
I just wanted to
You
be
ruined everything.
Benny,
Oh my
you're screwing it all up, man.
Benny's
We're trying
screwing
to-
things up as normal.
We're trying to have a seance and talk to somebody from the other side.
If you disagree that Jesus was a liar, come on up and explain to us why you disagree with us. Crying in the chat does no good for anybody here. What you could do is come up in front of 200 people now. We have over 100 people over on YouTube. You could come up, and we have 120 people on YouTube. We have 103 people here. So over 200 people, you could show them why we are leading them astray and lying to them.
There should be like a little request button up here, or you can click the little pink and blue person down there. On YouTube, you just copy that tiny URL and paste it into a browser. You hit allow, and that's it.
Hey, Christian Aguirre. Thank you guys so much for being here. 106 people. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up and interacting over there in the chat, hitting them little hearts, all those good things to get it pushed out into the algorithm. Go look up Wes Huff. Yeah, Wes Huff is an idiot, and all he does is spew. He doesn't care about the actual scholarship. All Wes Huff cares about is apologetics, and apologetics get us nowhere.
You got somebody.
Deep.
Wesley Curry.
Ooh, we got Wesley Curry over on.
But
give me a second.
Happy Pride, Keith.
I was trying to figure out how to make it.
Cool, Cyber.
Thank you, Cyber. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Wesley, what is your age, and are you a Christian?
64.
Are you?
I am Jewish. Jesus is God.
Oh, you are. So you're like a Messianic Jew.
So you're Christian.
I can't hear anybody if anybody's talking.
So are you?
I am Jewish. Jesus is God.
Yeah. So I asked, are you like a Messianic Jew or like?
I heard what you said. That's not what I said.
Okay, so you believe that Jesus is God, so you're really a Christian. Do you know what a Christian is?
I am a Jew.
Okay, hold on.
He might be born
Dude,
Jewish.
So you are like ethnically a Jew. You're not religiously a Jew.
I pray to Jesus, and I ask Jesus.
Because you're a Christian.
I am a Jew.
You are a Christian. By definition, if you follow Jesus, you are a Christian.
You have a difficult time
be
with
ethically
reality.
Jewish
You have a difficult
and
time with
worship
words.
Jesus.
Words have
No, I'm
definitions.
not going to get on your rail.
Words have definition, Wesley. What is a Christian? What is the definition of Christian? A follower of Jesus.
I asked.
Are you a follower of Jesus?
I asked Jesus to give you real bread 2 months ago, and he did. You have a difficult time accepting reality.
Jesus didn't give me anything because he is nothing more than a carcass.
You worship your lives.
No, I worship nothing.
A voice spoke in your head on 2 specific days. On October 10, in the year 2005, a voice that you believe is God told you, I will turn and toss you violently like a ball. In the moments that voice spoke to you, you could not move. You were in your bed. That voice was not
That
God.
never happened. Why'd you come up on my... You're a false prophet, and Jesus will spew you from his mouth because that never happened.
That voice was Satan.
That never happened.
Weirdo.
Why are you lying?
This is wild.
31st, in the year 2020, that voice spoke in your mind, and it told you, don't tell the vision. That voice was not God. It was Satan. And it didn't happen only to you. It happened to everyone watching your show. You speak from that voice now.
Okay, can you prove to me that Jesus is anything more than a liar?
You can't prove to me you accept the reality of real bread. I'm telling you thoughts that you had in your head.
Okay, so in Matthew 6, okay, Matthew, I'm just going to talk over you. Matthew, okay, so you tell me, is this true or false? I'm going to read you a scripture from the Bible. You believe the Bible is true, correct?
Did you get the
Do you
real
believe
bread?
the Bible is true, yes or no?
You answer to me, did you get
No,
the
I
real
don't.
bread?
This is... Look, I have a mute button. Now you're talking into the void.
You answered to me. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
nobody can hear you because you are muted. Because I have the power. You answer to me. That's how this works. I'm going to read you a scripture and then you can reply and tell me whether... Oh, he left. He told me, you answer to me. What the hell? No,
That was
that's not how
hilarious.
this works. And nothing he said was true. God lied to him when he said those things happened. In fact, in 2005, I was very much a Christian, and I had not yet experienced any voices until about 2007 is when I started seeing prophetic visions and hearing prophetic things.
Catholic is in the box, but let me tell you something. He's going to have to agree to be on his best behavior or he's not staying up. He was so rude on Sam's live.
Could people just hear me when I was talking in there or not? No?
I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Just wanted to know that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I couldn't hear you either.
All right, cool. I'm going to back out and go back in next time.
Yeah.
That guy, he's been on Mezzos. He comes on to our Video Ninjas. He's the one that writes like manifestos.
Poisoning the well. That's all they're doing. Poisoning the well.
Catholic, we're talking right now. Do not interrupt. That's what I'm talking about. He's not staying tonight if he can't behave. I'm not playing. Okay? He was so rude on Sam's live.
Fruits of the Spirit, Catholic. Fruits of the Spirit. Which is another thing. Why do they all want the 10 Commandments in schools, but they don't want the Beatitudes?
Because they're platitudes. Okay, Catholic, I'm going to let you unmute now. You can talk about the topic, but you have to be respectful or you're not staying.
Sure. So Jesus is not a liar. You guys are the liars. You're a bunch of reprobates, wicked reprobates on the road to eternal
Okay, so we're
damnation
gonna
in the
read.
fires of
We're
hell.
reading. Okay, so you're muted. We're gonna
And you
read a
need to
verse.
repent, otherwise you're gonna perish.
Catholic, if you unmute one more time, you're gone.
Don't
Because
crash
you're a bunch
out.
of reprobates on
Okay,
the road to
there you
hell.
go.
So you need to.
Amazing. Can't handle an adult conversation.
Don't crash out.
He crashes out before he ever comes up on these lives. It is horrible. I do love reprobating. That is true, Leviticus tech degree. I love reprobating. Yes, Justin just reconverted from that beautiful testimony of Catholic there. Let's... Okay.
That worked that time.
Yes, I heard you that time, Benny.
Double speak.
Benny.
Benny.
And the jerk. Oh, sorry, you guys.
Well,
I thought I was muted. I'm cooking.
Guys, we are out once again of guests. I don't know what to do to get guests in here. We might have to do God is Not Real or an LGBTQ, but last time I did LGBTQ, they didn't send me out at all.
Just do the God is not real, I guess.
Or God is evil.
Or the Jesus.
That one seems simple.
Or Jesus' death was unnecessary. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Christianity feels mutually exclusive from emotional regulation.
That's my mom in chat, TikTok people. Mama Cat, follow her.
Oh, Mama Cat's in there. Hi, Mama Cat.
Hi, Mama Cat.
Mama Cat is cool. We love Mama Cat.
Pretty chill.
All right, guys, over on TikTok, thank you so much for all the likes, but we are going to try a different topic, see if we can't get something going here. Thank you guys for being here. But we are going to hit a restart. We won't be gone long.
Okay, then, yeah.
To come home. Do you know the amount of flight cases? You know, because only about you got flight cases. Because if your flight cases is heavy, you cannot lift it. So you have flight cases that you put about 25 records each in there, and on one album, there might be just one track on there that is playable for the dance or that you intend to play. So you need to have so many flight cases, like to carry your records up there. You know, when you're going to play, you always it's full. You know you know. But now these guys that call themselves DJs, they come with one bloody USB stick, two of them, 5,000 song, 2,000 song here, 2,000 song here. You know, you put.
Come on. Come on. All right. We're back up and going. We should be back up and going over on the YouTube channel. Hopefully we can get some takers on this here. Let's see. We got Benny and Crystal.
You guys, I know you kicked ass while we were live just a minute ago, but as you join, I need you to kick ass again. Start getting the likes up, start getting the shares out. Send a heart me if you can. Send Benny a rose or two. Do all the good things. Share out the live. Get those shares up to 100 shares. If everybody as they join shares it out to 10 people, we'll be there. We'll be there. So start sharing out the live and doing all the good stuff.
Carson over on YouTube, we will bring up YouTube guests before we get to 5K because it won't affect our live over on YouTube or on TikTok at all. So if you can go up to the top, there's a pinned comment, and you just click on that, and it will take you right to where you need to go to have the conversation.
Aaron on the Decon YouTube just said that they'll go onto Darth Dawkins' Discord and start a fight and run here. Do it. Come up here. Tell us we have no grounding for our moral whatever and stuff, and John.
Tell me all about the idioms. It's all about the idioms, baby.
Obviously, you don't know what a Jewish idiom is.
Hear me cooking?
Whoa.
That's my grinder. Grinder.
Whoa, you're cooking. She's cooking, guys.
I'm literally just cooking corn on the cob and hot dogs.
What are you grinding up then?
A little salt and butter is going on the corn on the cob before I put it on the grill. Then I wrap it up in the foil. That's what you hear now.
Put a little butter in there.
Yeah, put some butter in there. And then on mine, I add a little Cajun spice. Because I like a little Cajun spice on mine.
Crystal's on Grinder.
Y'all wish. Y'all wish. All right, I'm going back on mute. Benny, entertain the folks.
Sure. All right, everybody start tapping that screen. Let's get up to 5,000. Let's try and get some people in here. Share the stream out to your least and most favorite religious folk. Tell them that they can come and run tag. Somebody send it to Wi-Fi Gospel. I want to talk to them.
Yeah, Wi-Fi can come up. All right, we're gonna bring up our guest. Just hold on, guest, for a couple minutes or for a few seconds.
Hey, bro, how you doing, my man?
Just give me a few minutes, and we will introduce you.
My question is simple, but go ahead, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
just a minute, okay? Hang on.
I'm hanging
We'll
on.
be with you in just a minute.
All right.
All right, you guys. I still need about 25 more shares. Please share the live out. You can always just copy link. If you are like, I don't want to keep sharing this out, but get us up there. We're at 82 now. We need about 18 more. Let's go. Let's get them done. We've got the likes. You guys got us over 5,000. Thank you so much. Now keep that up. Because lately, once you get us to 5,000, you slow down a lot. And, I'm not accusing you guys of slacking off or anything, but I'm just saying, it's what keeps it going. We got to feed that algorithm, okay? We are at 112 shares, Joyful.
Okay, so again, thanks for being here. What is your age, and are you a Christian?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm 35. I just have a
Right on. Do you think God is love or evil?
Well, if you answer my question, is your existence evil? Do you hate your life? Like your whole being, your existence, is it evil?
Nope.
So therefore, how can you call God evil?
Because God does evil shit, and I call people that do evil shit evil.
No, listen. I'm asking you, is your existence bad? Do you hate your life, your existence?
Yeah, just because God did something good does not make him good. He has to not be evil. He can't do a bunch of evil shit if he doesn't want to be evil.
I gave you your answer.
Is slavery evil? Again, nope. I am going to dictate this conversation again.
No, you will not dictate nothing, bro.
I will. This is my live. You can crash out if you'd like. So, do you think...
Listen, because you sound stupid, bro. Do you have kids?
Is slavery bad?
Do you have kids?
Is slavery bad?
Do you have kids?
Okay, I'm going to mute you, and you're going to answer yes or no when you unmute. Is slavery bad?
Of course it's bad. You don't do. Does Christianity,
oh, okay. So when God
does Christianity proclaim slavery? Does it?
Yes. Yep.
Where?
Your God does.
Where? Show me.
Hang
Leviticus.
on 1 second. Joyful, before you continue, mod up Justin,
If
please.
you hate God so much, then don't have children, all right? Just banish.
Again. Can you be quiet for a minute? I'm talking to Joyful about something else for a second.
Dude,
Okay?
the crashing
Hang
out
on.
is wild.
Mod up Justin on TikTok. He's asking to be modded, okay? Now, against is really what your name is. And against, what I want to tell you is, we run this live, not you, okay? You're going to be respectful to host. You're going to mute when he's talking. You're not going to interrupt and try to shout over him. And we're going to have a really
listen,
good...
you came into existence by the will of God. You don't run nothing.
Against, I was just talking, and you're not going to talk over me. You're not going to talk over the host.
Hey, Mezzo.
You're going to calm down. You're going to take it down a notch, and we're going to have a good conversation. We want to hear what you have to say, but we really can't hear you if you keep talking over us, and we're like fighting for the mic, okay? So calm down. Let's have a conversation, and let's make it so we can hear what your thoughts are, so we can understand you.
Okay, you done, Crystal?
No, I'm not. Now I'm going to talk for another 5 minutes because you're rude, and I don't like it.
I just had a question. I just want to ask my guy here if he hates existence. And he says no.
Do you know
Again.
what? You don't run the live. You don't run the live. You're not listening to me, sweetie. You don't run this live. We do.
I know, but I just...
Okay, so shush, and listen to Joyful and have a conversation. Against, you're either going to let Joyful talk or you're going to go. We're going to be done.
If you hate your existence, don't have children.
Against, you're not listening to me. Joyful's going to talk now, and you're going to shut up, or you can go.
Yeah, against it, I will make sure that Satan is upon you tonight if you do not stop.
And I call the blood of Jesus Christ upon you so that
Okay, so I'm going to read you a Bible verse because you asked me where the God of the Bible endorses slavery. So now we're going to read it. Okay?
Okay, bro, read it.
We're going to start off with him talking about the Hebrews, then we're going to see what he says about the foreigners. He says, if any of you who are dependent, who are dependent on you become so impoverished that they sell themselves to you, you shall not make them serve as slaves. They shall remain with you as hired or bound laborers. They shall serve with you until the year of Jubilee. Then they and their children with them shall go out from your authority. They shall go back to their own families and return to their ancestral properties. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as slaves are sold. You shall not rule over them with harshness, but shall fear your God. As for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you, who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over them with harshness. So God does literally condone slavery.
Specifically chattel slavery, too. Like, treating people as property.
So again, you said that slavery is evil, and I just showed you where the Christian God said it isn't that. It's okay. You can own people as slaves. So do you have something to
Okay, buddy. So when communism was introduced in Europe, when communism, isolation of owning anything, any property, was that designed? Was communism? Was that designed from God Himself or from man?
Communism was not a law given by God. This was a law given by God.
And this time,
this was a law given by God. Again.
When this time it was given by God to conduct and to bring about at a certain time in history, you understand?
Slavery.
Okay, it was. But later
So
on,
is slavery evil? Yes or no?
is your existence evil? Yes or no?
Is slavery evil? Yes or
Are your
no?
children's evil? Yes or no? Are their existence evil?
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're
You're a
talking about your
coward.
God.
You're a
You
coward.
already
You're reading out
said
of
slavery
context.
is evil.
You're reading out of context.
Again, nope. I read you the whole verse again. I read you the whole context. It says Israelites you cannot own as slaves, but foreigners you can. It says you can treat foreigners harshly, but you cannot treat the Israelites harshly. It says all of those things, but instead of actually engaging with what the Bible says, you run back to your meta commentary about how I should think God is good because I exist. You have to prove to me that God exists for me to believe that that he created, like, we go down a whole different road at that point. We're talking about the Christian God being evil. So we're going to have to go to his book where we learn about the Christian God.
Also, like, philosophers of the, like, pessimistic sort, you know, like Schopenhauer, anti-natalist, they would say that existence is suffering. So, yeah, existence is evil.
Holly, thanks for the likes and thanks for being here. Holly is my new friend that I met today. Not my wife, Holly, a different Holly. And, yeah. I just wanted to give you a shout out.
Is this
Thanks
a game
for being
you
here.
and your wife play?
No.
I just met her today.
No, it's Holly 3 times 17. I just met them today, and they were, yeah. Appreciate them.
Hey, Holly, welcome in. Against what's going to happen is I'm going to invite you to unmute.
Oh,
You can
no,
unmute,
it's-
but then I'm going to keep muting you every time you interrupt, Joyful.
Now, you can't have a conversation like this, right? We're trying to have a
No,
dialogue.
we can't. When you talk over people,
All right.
we can't have a
You're
conversation.
joyful for your existence, right? But you're not joyful how God used his powers and performed and elaborate on his part what he feels like. Just like when you have kids, right? When you have babies, what do? You treat them what? Like you're like a master, right? You're a master, you treat them like slaves, right? You don't give them the food.
What?
Feed them. Am I right?
Did
or
he
no?
just say when you have babies, you're a master and you treat them like slaves? Did he just say that?
Do you not treat your kids as slaves? They can't do anything.
No.
No. Are you okay?
No,
Yeah.
are you okay?
Oh.
I'm asking you if you're okay.
No, I'm okay. I never treated my son like a slave, okay?
Are you
I
sure?
never treated my
Are you
daughter or
sure?
my child
Yeah.
like a slave.
Not
My-
in the
my-
sense of slavery.
My kids,
but on
my kids get to eat whether they do their chores or not. My kids get a lot of clothing and very well taken care of whether they do their chores or not. If that's not how you run your household, I would suggest maybe giving your kids up for adoption. I don't mean to be mean, but that is disgusting if you treat your kids like they're slaves.
It's okay, but I sense the hatred in you. There's a lot of hatred in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, against people who abuse their children. Yeah, you can
Stalin.
sense that,
Just like
dude.
Stalin,
Yeah,
you
you
abuse, right?
sound
I
very
see
abusive
Stalin
to your
in you.
children if you think they're slaves. And again, I'm going to keep muting you. You're not going to win the mute game, okay? Because I'm the best at it. You're not going to win.
You're not.
And eventually, I get tired and I just hit the disconnect button. That's
The
what
hate-
I do.
The
So you
hatred
can
in my
keep
heart
this
for
up,
people
or
that
you can
treat
shut
their
up.
kids like slaves. That is crazy. Again,
Now.
so do you want to making
We
yeah.
do have somebody up on Video Ninja.
Yeah, I know. Again, do you want to actually address the scripture I read to you? Yes or no?
Yeah, well, we don't follow those scriptures anymore, right?
I don't care. Your God said
So,
this was
If you
okay,
don't
did
care, I
he?
care. If you
Did
don't care, I
God say
care.
did the Christian God say this was okay?
I muted him for 1 second. So now we don't call it scriptures, even though Jesus called it scriptures. Is that what I'm getting? Did you just start your own religion against? Is that what you've done? A religion of slave babies and not allowed to say the word scripture?
Yeah, and Jesus literally. Again, Jesus says that you need to follow him, follow every one of the laws, or you will be least in the kingdom of heaven. And if you don't follow all of the Mosaic law, you will be least. If you follow all of them, you will be greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So, do you think that that's problematic, that you're saying that you don't need to follow this law? Seems like you just hate God's law, and Jesus was pro God's law. Mark 7, Jesus says that the Pharisees worship God in vain because they don't unalive children. Instead, they give a child an out to where they can curse their parents or not honor their parents. Anyway, again, thanks for being here. I don't think you're going to do anything but crash out, so we're going to try Video Ninja. See if we can't get an actual conversation going.
I was about to explain it to you.
Carson? Yeah, go ahead. What is your age for TikTok purposes? Because we're also over there.
I'm 20 years old.
You're 20. Okay, and I'm guessing you're a Christian, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so can you explain to me why God is not evil?
Yeah, of course. So what you just said, they're all like condemned to hell because of the law. They go against the law. You disobey the law. And in the Old Testament, there's no sacrifice for your sins.
That's not true.
Meaning, well, yeah, you can sacrifice something like a lamb and give offering to God, but you'd have to do that every time that you sin.
You can
otherwise there's still sin within you.
Carson, we know that people were righteous without having the blood of Jesus on them from Scripture itself.
Yes, true.
Yeah, so that's kind of a moot point because yes, you can get forgiveness in the Old Testament, but through the law, and also you could be righteous through the law.
Yeah. So the Old Testament was before Jesus, before there was a sacrifice. And in Isaiah 53 in the Old Testament, it talks about...
That's not about Jesus at all.
Then what do you think it's about?
The city, or it's about Israel itself. Everywhere else in 2nd Isaiah, that it refers to a singular servant, it literally says it is Israel. But then for some reason, Christians, when they get to Isaiah 53, they decide that it's Jesus. And it really doesn't make any sense. Because if you read it in context with the rest of 2nd Isaiah, you would know that it's literally talking about the place of Israel.
Well, Israel is also referred to as Abraham's son Isaac, which is why a lot of people claim that parts of the Bible...
You're talking about Isaac's son Jacob.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's also called Israel. And that's why, like, current Israel, like, modern-day Israel, like, the Jews, they believe that that's the Holy Land, but it's kind of just people are misconfusing it. Like, each religion kind of picks it, each part on how they think it goes.
Okay, so, but the problem is everywhere else in Isaiah, it talks about the servant being Israel. So you think this one spot is about Jesus, and I want to understand why you would say that this one spot's about Jesus if everything else is about Israel and their captivity and how they are going to be bought back from captivity.
So in Isaiah 53, it talks in singular, like, pronouns. It says, like, his.
Yep, same as in the other chapters where it's talking about Israel.
So if it's talking about a country, wouldn't that be, like, their?
Nope.
Or plural?
No, he does
Oh,
this
oh,
many
so-
times throughout the Old Testament. He talks about Israel as a singular being, as a servant. We can just go back a few chapters and see it over and over again where Israel is referred to as a singular servant.
Just like the church is
So,
considered
what
one
do
bride.
So you interpret Isaiah 53 as like that entire chapter as being of the people of Israel?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because the whole second Isaiah is about their captivity and how they will be restored from it.
So when it
Jesus
says,
had
by
no-
his wounds we are healed,
Yep.
and he who knew no sin took up sin for our salvation.
Where does it say?
I
Which
feel like
verse is
it's
that?
Exactly. Hold on, I'll pull it up.
You guys, while we're
I'll just
listening to
read it.
Video
Hold on.
Ninja, I need you guys to get the likes up. By the 45-minute mark, I'm going to need us to be at a good
I think you're
25,000
confusing
likes.
Paul's words with Isaiah 53 about him who was not sin.
Yeah, Paul also said that, yeah.
Yep. You aren't going to find that in Isaiah. You will see where it says that the innocent will pay for the sins of the righteous, or for the wicked. But that's what happened in Israel. When they went into bondage, even the people that were righteous were in bondage because of the sins. The reason they were in bondage is because of their sins. We learned that from earlier books and even Isaiah. So even the righteous were paying the fines, paying to God what was due God through this judgment because of the sins of others.
No, wait, can you repeat that? Sorry, you cut out for me.
Yeah, so even the righteous people in Israel were put under this bondage because of the sins of others. So when he's talking, yep, so even the righteous of Israel were paying for the debts of those that were wicked.
Yeah, just like Adam and Eve, they passed down the first sin throughout all of mankind. That's why everyone is born into sin. But when Jesus came, God delivered him into Mary and said that he is pure and he knew no sin. And in Isaiah 53, it said on verse 12, the last part of it, it says, he poured out his life unto death. He numbered with the transgressors. He bore the sins of many and made intercession for the transgressors.
Yep. The righteous remnant of Israel.
So when he did this, he got rid of the old covenant, so everyone who believed in him isn't under the law.
No, that's not true.
They are under Jesus.
Show me where Jesus
Isaiah-
says that a single time.
Isaiah 53 is not about Jesus.
He didn't say that deliberately, but I'm summing it up because they aren't.
All right, so we're going to read Matthew 5, and you're going to tell me if this says what you says or if it...
sacrifice for sin.
So we're going to read Matthew 5, and you're going to tell me if this says what you said or it says what I said. These are Jesus' words himself.
Okay.
It says, do not... Hold on. Yeah, this is... All right. It says, do not think I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill. What law is he talking about here?
Like fulfilling prophecies in the Old Testament. Like
yeah, but what law?
Psalms?
What law is he talking about? Psalms is not a book of prophecies. There's no prophecy in Psalms.
So in that same Matthew 5:17.
I do not care. I'm asking you a specific question. Why can you not follow? What is the law he is talking about?
The law of God.
Yep. The books like Leviticus, Numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Exodus.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So he says, "Do not think I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass away from the law until all is accomplished." So heaven and earth will pass away before even the smallest stroke of a pen will disappear from the law. And then he says, "Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of the commands and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven, and whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven." So, Jesus literally says, until heaven and earth pass away, nothing's going away from the law. And in fact, if you break one of the laws, even the smallest of the laws, you will be least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be great in the kingdom of heaven. So is Jesus telling the truth, or was he lying?
I think he's telling the truth, but I think that you're reading it correctly. But when he says on verse 15, he says, "I do not think that I have come to abolish the law," because it's still in place. But,
yep, until heaven and earth pass away.
It says I've come to fulfill them.
Does fulfill mean abolish?
Sacrifice for your sin.
Does fulfill mean abolish?
It's fulfilled. It means that there's
do you know
no more
what
you
is
have
the?
to do.
Nope, that's not true, because that would be abolishing the law. That would be taking it away. That's what abolish means, to remove. Does fulfillment mean to remove?
No, it means it's done.
So
it's complete.
Nope, not at all. That would be abolish. That would be removing it.
So if you have a cup of water that's filled to the top, is that completely full? I think that's complete and done. There's no more
Filled
you
to
can
the
add
top
to it.
is not the same as fulfill. That's what
Yeah.
to the top.
Do you know the difference between filling something and fulfilling something? Those aren't the same words. You know that, right?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus says, "I did not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill." What you are trying to say is what he really meant is, "I've not come to abolish, but to abolish."
Wait, can Carson hear me?
I would disagree.
I can hear you, Benny.
I don't think.
Carson, can you hear the other person in here?
Oh, no.
It's okay.
If someone has something to say, I'd like to.
Oh, no, you're fine. We'll have to figure that out later.
No big deal.
No, so Jesus literally says that whoever breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
Okay, so what commands is he talking about?
So, for example, the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, and what else?
Encourage others to break the law. You're encouraging other people to turn away from God and dishonor Him.
Yeah, so is the slavery law part of these commands?
Slavery in the Bible is never affirmed by God.
That is a lie. I just read it, but I'll read it again. That's what you said you actually wanted to address. Yes, in Leviticus, God says that you cannot take the Israelites as slaves, but you can take foreigners. So he is all about ethnic slavery and chattel slavery. He says you will own them as property for life and pass them down to your children as property. He also says that about Israelite women in Exodus 21:7. He says if a father sells his daughter as a slave, she will not go free as the male slaves go free. So God is all for chattel slavery.
No.
Okay, so was God giving immoral laws or moral laws?
Moral laws.
Okay, so it's moral to own other people. So you think it's moral to own other people as property?
In this situation, it's talking about servants.
Nope.
Not the same slavery as we're talking about.
Incorrect.
When the Americans enslaved Africans.
What is a word for owning people? What is the only word that we have for owning others as property?
Well, technically, we're all owned under property because we are getting paid to do something.
No, not the same.
A slave in this situation is the same as a servant in the Old Testament.
Nope. You are
They're
owned.
slave.
You are not allowed to go free. You are their permanent property. What does the word property mean?
Ownership.
Okay, so you own them. My boss does not own me. I can quit whenever I want, and I can go find another boss to work for. There is no ownership.
But
Just
he owns you. He has control over
no,
you currently.
nope. He doesn't own me. These people could not leave of their own free volition. He pays me. These people did not get paid. They just got residence and food. These people could be beat as long as they didn't die or you physically maim their eye or their teeth.
Yeah, I honestly don't know much about the Old Testament. I've read the New Testament. I'm in Ephesians right now. But
yeah,
really
that's cool. Ephesians affirms slavery too.
I probably haven't gotten to it yet because it's probably not in it.
Yep, it is. We're going to read it, as a matter of fact, since...
Alright, let's go ahead.
Alright.
Because it's probably not in it.
Ephesians 6, 5 through 9, it says, Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear, and with certainty of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Obey them not only to win their favor when their eye is on you, but as a slave for Christ, doing the will of God from your heart. Serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not people, because you know that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good they do, whether they are slave or free. Masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Do not threaten them, since you know that he who is both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with God. What Paul should have said here, if he wasn't affirming slavery, because he's writing to a church, he's writing to Christian people. What Paul should have said is, you shouldn't own slaves. You shouldn't own other people. But instead he doesn't. He just says, hey, don't threaten them and treat them really shittily.
Okay, so slaves in this, it's talking like read it instead of slaves, but as the word servants, because this is also used to justify African American slavery.
Yep.
Which is why they called them slaves and the owners masters, which is why people currently still see.
This is talking about slaves.
I would disagree and say it's about servants.
Okay, what gives... Do you speak Greek?
I do not.
Okay, can you show me... Do you know that, like, almost every translation of Ephesians has slaves in there? So you're saying that because you prefer it says servants, you are right, where all of the scholars that have put this book together are wrong. That can speak Greek.
No, they use the word slaves, but I'm saying that they use the word slaves in this time period differently than
No, that's not true. There's two different words. There's servitude and then there's slavery. There's literally two different words.
Servitude and servant are two different things.
Nope. Bondservants were in servitude. That's literally what it means. If you are in servitude to somebody else, you are their servant. If you are a slave to somebody else, you are their property.
I just disagree on that. I don't know what to say. What about, so earlier, before you started up this stream, I was trying to join, and you were saying that Jesus is a liar.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that too if you
Can
want.
we talk? Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So what do you believe? So you believe Jesus existed, right?
I believe in some capacity there was a man named Jesus, most likely. I do not believe that the biblical rendition of a Jesus ever existed.
Alive.
What?
So you believe like someone named Jesus at this time period was alive back then?
Yeah, I'm sure there were even radical preachers that were named Jesus. I don't doubt that it was based off of somebody, but I don't think they did the things that were claimed in this book.
So you don't... Oh, so you're saying, like, you don't believe in any of the miracles he performed?
Oh, yeah, I don't believe in any of that. Well, one, he was a sinner.
Why is
Two, there's several reasons. One, he sins in the Bible. Because we know from the book of John, it says that sinning is transgressing the law. Do you believe the book of John when it says that? Or is the book of John lying?
No, book of John's valid, but keep going.
Okay, so it says that sinning is transgressing the law, and Jesus transgressed the law several times.
How so?
He transgressed the law when he healed the man on the Sabbath. He transgressed...
The withered hand?
What?
Okay, the guy with the withered hand?
Yep.
So what happened in the story was the Pharisees, they came to him and they're like, what are you doing? You're working on the Sabbath.
Yep.
And he said, isn't the Sabbath for doing good and not evil? It's made for man. And he said, what I'm doing is for good.
Yeah, I don't care if it was for good. There was a guy that was murdered. There was a guy that was unalived in the Old Testament for picking up sticks on the Sabbath. He was just picking up sticks in his yard. So Jesus was working, whether it was for good. This guy didn't even know it was bad to pick up sticks. Nobody knew if it should be punishable. God said it should be punishable. So nobody...
They're under the law.
No, I don't care about that. Jesus transgressed the law right here when he healed the man on the Sabbath. Jesus transgressed the law in John 8. Do you believe that John 8 is true about the adulterous woman?
Where he says, go and sin no more?
Yep, and he tells them not to punish her even though there's witnesses.
Yes.
Do you realize that the law says that she should have been stoned?
Yeah. But Jesus said that...
Yeah, that's a transgression. What is a transgression? What is a transgression of something?
Google's a great resource.
Yep.
An act that goes against the law.
Yep, an act that goes against the law. So when Jesus told them and advocated for not stoning her and in fact let her go, he literally transgressed the law, which according to 1 John is what sin is. So Jesus sinned in John 8.
I feel like I should
in
do
John 8 when
commentary.
he forgave the woman?
What?
When he forgave the woman?
Yep. That was a transgression of the law, which would be a sin according to 1 John.
Well, back to Matthew 5, it says that he came to fulfill the law. I mean, he...
Yeah, but he didn't. He sinned.
That's not a sin. He forgave that woman.
Yeah,
He said, "Go and sin no more."
so we just determined what a transgression of the law is. You Googled it, and then you told me. Did Jesus keep the law when he forgave her, or did he not keep the law?
He kept the law.
How did he keep the law if the law was that she must be stoned?
Hey, TikTok people, there is a poll up in the upper left-hand corner. Take that poll.
So, look at him. He won't actually answer he won't answer the question because he knows the answer.
Well, I don't know the exact answer.
Yeah, you don't, because he transgressed the law. We've already determined that the transgression of the law is sin. You agreed to that, right?
Yeah.
Did Jesus transgress the law when he went against the law?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to my next guest since you can't be honest. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good night. We are going to go to a TikTok guest next. And then we will come back to Video Ninja. We have Robert's been in here for a minute. Then we'll go Video Ninja. Then we'll come back. Yeah, he couldn't be honest. I cannot have a conversation like that.
No, you really can't. Hey, Robert, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Yeah, sure. It's 46.
Right on. And I'm guessing you're a Christian based on your profile pic there.
Yeah.
Right on. Do you think God is love or evil?
Oh yeah, I would definitely go with. I mean, if I had to pick between the two, love. I mean, he's
Do
lots of
you,
things, right? Love, justice. But go ahead.
so do you think God does evil things?
God does evil things. No, I don't. I don't think he's. I don't think he can. There's things he can't do, right? He can't lie. He can't. That's why, like, Jesus was perfect, right? Because and didn't sin because it's not in his nature.
Okay, so when Jesus lied, that wasn't sinning?
When Jesus lied, oh, where did he lie? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
in in John 7, he blatantly
Okay.
lies to his disciples. Give me just 1 second
Sure.
to pull it up here. Um, he says, da, 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 da. Give me 1 second. Jesus said, "My time is not yet come, but your time is always here. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify against it." Give me. Sorry. Testify against it that its works are evil. Go to the festival yourselves. I am not going to this festival, for my time has not yet come. After saying this, he remained in Galilee. But after his brothers had gone to the festival, then he also went, not publicly, but as it were in secret. The Jews were looking for him at the festival and saying, "Where is he?" So Jesus tells them, "I am not going to this festival." Was that something true he told them or not? Robert is teacupped.
Can't hear you, Robert, if you're off the app.
Oh, I'm back. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, Matthew 7. Yeah, I remember that where he said he wasn't going, and then he did show up. Yes, and it didn't. Me reading the Bible, I look at it as I'm trying to find contradictions, like you guys, trying to make sure that this is in the truth. But when I was reading it, that didn't come across my mind that he was lying. But that's a point that I don't have an answer to. If that is the truth.
Yeah, and the reason I believe it was a lie is because he goes in secret. He doesn't go publicly. So
Okay.
so that why would you do that after you told somebody you were not going unless he was lying? But that is a fair response to that. So I believe Jesus did not hold up to his end of the bargain as being God because Jesus does lie.
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
I was listening a little about earlier, and you guys were talking about Isaiah 53, and of course
Mm-hmm.
Christians use that as talking about Jesus, and Jewish
Yep.
people, of course, they would probably side with you guys. That's usually their responses that hey, this isn't our Messiah. He's not come yet because it's talking about Israel.
Yep.
But my question is, let's say that these prophecies were of Jesus, right? And they were we know they were written before. Would you give Christianity a second look because of the prophecies, or that's still
Yeah,
wouldn't be
if prophecies really made sense with Jesus' life
right?
and it wasn't like Matthew is just full of bad talking points on prophecies. It talks
Okay,
about Isaiah 7 being about Jesus' birth of a virgin, and you go back and read the prophecy, and it's really just a prophecy to King Ahaz that this birth is going to happen, but before this baby is old enough to know right or wrong, the kings that he is fighting against will be overthrown, and we find that happens not long after this prophecy takes place. So we know that baby that Isaiah is talking about has already came. And so, like, when Christians talk about a virgin birth, so it's like, so were there two virgin births? Who was this first virgin birth? Because
right.
even if you say it's a dual prophecy, then you have to explain away another virgin birth.
Okay, yeah. I'm with you. They call them like this. Okay, I'm with you.
Yep.
Um,
So I just
no,
do not
yeah,
find
no.
any of the prophecies convincing at all.
So when I was, making the journey to figure out like what's true, I was, reading a little bit about Islam, and that was referring back to, the scriptures as well about Muhammad, and I guess a lot of religions do that, I guess. So that was my talking point of my steps to see, like, is this book really what it is? And so my thing is, yeah, the Old Testament and New Testament have to like click. They have to be one if it's true, right? So like
Yep.
you make good topics, but like I just find it overwhelming. Like in Malachi, like the Messiah, he's going to come. He's going to be born in Bethlehem, right? So I mean, that's not right there like a shocker, right? Because it is Israel. It's a town. But the thing is, like when you read and research Judaism, and they're waiting for their Messiah to still to come, even after Jesus. They're looking at a Messiah in the line of David who's going to rule, and also, from the tribe of Joseph, right, where, he's going to die.
Yep.
So there is early, scriptures where the Jews did think that the Messiah was going to die based on Isaiah 53. So, I mean, that's something in history we can draw back on. So that right there was telling us that the early
there's
believe that.
I don't
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
to
So
the Jews,
there
I don't think
are
Isaiah 53 was a messianic prophecy.
no. It was about them coming out of. There are not many writings about Isaiah 53 being about a Messiah from Jewish writings of the time, but there have been like Messianic Jewish people that have embraced that Isaiah 53 is talking about a Messiah. There's no doubting that. There are certain Jewish sects that have taken that stance, but when you actually read it in context with all of Second Isaiah, which is talking about the second captivity, it doesn't make sense with the rest of what it's talking about, because all it's talking about is them being restored from that captivity. And then somewhere in it, like, we're supposed to believe that this chapter in the middle of it is talking about a Messiah.
No, I got you. So, like when you read the New Testament and Philip's talking to the Ethiopian, right? Like, they're discussing, I believe, in the book of Isaiah about the Messiah, right? So I always look at it as, if I read the book, hopefully God would guide me on what's talking to what. But normally that's not the case. Normally you have to be like trained from somebody who's a believer already, if it's true. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm going to read Isaiah and be like, I don't know what's going on here. You know what I mean? Just coming from, 2,000 years later, I'm going to be a little confused, right? So, I mean, that's usually what happens, right? And that's where a lot of people's own interpretations start coming. And this is where other cults start coming, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they start breaking it apart. And, we can go down the list, you know what I mean, of all these different interpretations. But the fact is yeah, so the born of Bethlehem, in Genesis, when it was saying it was going to be, come from the line of Judah, already in Genesis, that was pretty crazy. Psalm 22.
Psalm 22 isn't a prophecy at all.
Okay.
Do you know what a psalm is? Do you know what the definition of a prophecy is?
I think a prophecy is like, I'm claiming something that's going to happen. Like if someone's going to come that we're waiting on, and they're going to be born in a certain location, come from this family, they're going to do this. And if all that comes true, and they're not like open-ended talking points, they're like direct things, like this person's going to be born here during this time frame, etc.
Yep.
Then I have some worth, right? And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, I guess. Right?
But I agree with you. But the problem is Psalms 22 is talking about, David is talking directly about himself.
Sure.
There's no proclamation about a future in Psalms 22. There's only him talking in present tense.
No. You make a good point, and this where, and honestly, if the Bible is true, right? Like when I'm listening to your podcast, it makes me think, all right, if I'm a Christian, I am failing miserably at knowing the Word of God. So, if anything, this is true, you might think it could be in good intentions. We're like, hey, I'm waking up these Christians, stop following a stupid book, right? That's one thing of looking at it. That could be the objective if it's true, right? You could be helping people get away from a religion, maybe we're better off not having it as a foundation or whatever. But second, you could also be doing another thing where if it is true, you have people like me saying, I got to know this word better. I got to know.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So hypothetically, I can go down the list, and if you are right, it can be like, this guy was right. Yeah, this doesn't make sense. Or in Matthew 7, blah, blah, blah. And I have a tough time answering this. I don't know what to do. Right? And then it can go down and be deconstructed and go down that path. Or they can be like, hey, the guy on there he missed this. Matthew 6. I'm just saying, like, you could be possibly wrong on a particular contradiction.
Oh, yeah. I have like shut down full topics. Like, because something in my background, somebody showed me something I was not aware of. I will be honest, if somebody presents me with something that is wrong from my viewpoint, because what I am worried about is spreading the truth. I was a Christian for many years. I was an associate pastor. I helped plant 3 different churches. Like, it wasn't just me making a decision I lost everything losing the faith. My whole family is Christian. My whole support group was Christian. It wasn't an easy task leaving. So when I come on here, it's for the purpose of I don't want people caught up in a lie that I found to be a lie. Now, do I think that Christians can educate me on some things that I'm wrong about? Yes. And I have admitted it on these lives when I've been wrong. But I think, even just for instance, in Micah 5, you talk about he's going to come from Bethlehem, but Christians don't want to talk about what it says he's going to do.
Okay.
Because what he says, from the remnant of Jacob, surrounded by many peoples, shall be like dew from the Lord, like showers on the grass, which do not depend upon people or what for any mortal. And among the nations, the remnant of Jacob, surrounded by many peoples, shall be like a lion among the animals of the forest, like a young lion among the flocks of sheep, which when it goes through, treads down and tears into pieces, with no one to deliver. Your hand shall be lifted up over your adversaries, and all your enemies shall be cut off, which... We'll stop there just for a second. Literally, when Jesus came, they were under Roman rule, and they were still, and this is talking about the Messiah coming from Bethlehem still.
Right.
On that day, says the Lord, I will cut off your horses from among you, and I will destroy your chariots, and I will cut off the cities of your land and destroy all your strongholds, and I will cut off sorceries from your hand, and you shall have no more soothsayers, and I will cut off your images and your pillars from among you, and you shall bow down no more to the work of your hand, and I will uproot the sacred poles from among you and destroy your towns, and in anger and wrath I will execute vengeance on the nations that did not obey. So none of that happened. He didn't wreak vengeance on the cities that didn't obey. He didn't lift their hands over their adversaries. He didn't cut off their enemies when Jesus came. In fact, they were under oppression, and then they were continually under oppression basically since then.
Right. And one of the Jews, I guess, they're saying, hey, we know Jesus is not the Messiah because peace is not here. Right. So that's one of their indications. But it's interesting, the fact that, we all know, if it's true, the second coming is going to come. So how do we know what's going to happen wasn't talking about the second coming of him coming? Because, it's kind of interesting. Like, if he is God, he could have been a king. He could have ruled right from the get-go. But I found it kind of fascinating, to the point, if God is evil, God is love, that he decided to be born where he was. You know what I mean? And born through, oppression. So just those aspects, I keep in mind, that I'm like, it's not like I don't see him as evil, and those aspects of things.
Yeah, for sure. Justin, did you have something to input here?
Yeah. I think Robert is doing his best to look at some of these passages with honest eyes, and so
Oh,
we
yeah.
applaud that. But when I was a Christian looking at these passages,
Yeah.
the thing that really struck me is that most of them he didn't really fulfill. Like in Micah 5:2, it says that the person born in Bethlehem is going to be a ruler in Israel, and so Zechariah 9:9 says he's going to be a victorious king that cuts off all the war chariots.
Yeah.
So like these prophecies only work if you don't read all of them. And so once you actually read the whole prophecy, you find all this other stuff that's supposed to happen. And then the Christian response is like, well, he's going to do that when he comes back. But like, if the only part of the prophecy he did is like the easy, mundane stuff that I could do, then like, that's not a really impressive prophecy to me.
No, I got you. So in my point of view, and please, be like, dude, yeah, that's still not impressive. When I start taking the initiative of thinking if this was true or not, when I saw that the prophecies that just stand out is, okay, we got the location of the birth, we got the lineage, right, in the line of David.
Well, we don't have that.
Okay, well, that's probably a contention. I mean, like, you see, like, the genealogies, right? So the New
Right.
Testament writers thought that, right? So we'll put it there. The New Testament writers thought that.
I agree. Yeah, the New
Right.
Testament authors, right? They thought
Right.
they had it on lockdown because Joseph was the adopted father, and theoretically
Right.
Joseph came from David.
And so did Mary.
Well, no, not Mary. No,
Yeah, well, Mary came from the line of David, too.
no, that's not in the Bible.
It is. Yeah,
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
She's her.
Oh no, it's definitely not.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree. Maybe I know
No,
that
it's,
they also say she's from her cousin's from the Levites, right? Elizabeth,
Well,
right? But
Yeah,
but,
her cousin Elizabeth was a Levite, but both genealogies, Matthew chapter 1 and Luke chapter 3, both of them terminate in Joseph.
right, but so as you know, like, one of the lines during the middle are different, right? So
Yeah,
it's
but they both go to
contested.
Joseph.
Yeah, historically, right? Because when you do genealogies, that's who you're basing it off, the male, right? I mean, even in the Old Testament, it's like the father of the son of, right? But the fact is Jesus, via the New Testament, he didn't have a real father, right? So it's still going to list Joseph. But the genealogy in Luke, I believe, is still pointing through the Mary's lineage, but not listing
Well,
her.
Mary's not
Does that
even
make sense?
mentioned.
Yeah, because in Jewish genealogies, but okay, but we'll agree to disagree at that point. But the fact
Well,
is
Jewish genealogies go to through the man.
to the man, right,
Okay.
and yeah, but so that aspect, the born in the lineage, the supposedly, I know we'll disagree with the Isaiah 53. When I read it, right, myself, and again, I'm not reading it in the Greek, I'm not reading in the Hebrew. It looks to me like when they read this to Jews in Israel today, right? Even in Hebrew, like, they're astonished. They're thinking this is New Testament writings.
Not
Right?
the
They're like, "Oh
Hebrews
my
I
goodness."
know.
Oh yeah, so there's a YouTube. It's called Israeli. Darn it.
One for
Something
Israel?
Yeah, one for Israel.
Yeah, I know
So
one for Israel very well, yeah.
Yeah, so they go to the Jews and they have them read in Hebrew, and a lot of times they think it's the New Testament, and it's actually the Old, and they talk to them in Hebrew. And they're culturally brought up, like, not to, like, even associate with the New Testament, right?
Yeah,
Culturally.
they find people on the street that don't actually know the book, and they read it to them, and they don't know what's happening. That happens all the time. But like the Jews that actually know the book are very familiar with Isaiah 53, which is why they know it's not about Jesus. And it tells you in Isaiah 50, the second Isaiah, chapter 40 to 55, he tells you 8 times that Israel is the servant.
No, okay, I got you. But just going back to the Israeli part, right? If we look at the New Testament, right? If we want to count that as being, as Paul, he would go, of course, to the temples first, And, of course he's professing Jesus is the Messiah. So how would he do that? So
Yeah, he went to the synagogue first, and then the Jews rejected him, and he went to the Greeks.
Right. So when he's going to the synagogue, what is he saying? Like, what is he referencing?
He's saying the same stuff that the Christians believe, which is why they were kicking him out.
Right. So, but he's referencing their scripture, right?
Oh, I'm sure he is, obviously.
Right.
But they didn't accept his bad interpretation of it, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, that's probably opinionated. Right now, you're on that side, and I'm on the other side, right? But I just want to make this one point. In Acts 17, right? He goes to the Berean Jews, and he goes there, and the Berean Jews actually say, "Okay, let me hear what you got to say," right? So they actually study the scripture, what he's saying, and they become believers.
Hello?
And can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know what freaking happened.
So Acts 17, the Berean Jews actually believe what Paul's saying and become believers based on what he's saying via scripture.
Nobody's suggesting that there weren't some early Jews in the Christian movement. That no one said that. I mean, the disciples were Jewish, theoretically.
Right.
So, no one's saying that there were 0 Jews that were converted. What I'm saying is that the Jews, by and large, rejected this interpretation, and for good reason, because the prophet tells you that the nation of Israel is the witness. He even tells you in 43:10, he says, "You are my witnesses," in the plural. "You are my witnesses, says the Lord, and my servant whom I've chosen," in the singular. So there's no problem here with this singular versus plural language. When you're using a metaphor as a nation being an individual servant, then yes, grammatically, the servant is going to be singular.
No, I'm with you with those topics, and I'm familiar with those between rabbis and Christians having those debates. But yeah, I just want to just go back to where, that prophecy of itself of his people being rejected is a prophecy in itself. Like the Judaism, they're waiting for the Messiah. In the prophecy of the book, it's saying that they're going to reject their Messiah.
It doesn't say that anywhere.
Doesn't say that at all in the Bible. They're going to reject him.
It does in the New Testament.
The New Testament says that you're going to reject Jesus, but that's just I'm talking about the actual prophecies. There's no prophecy saying that the Messiah is going to be rejected.
Well, yeah, and again, guys, the talking point is, I guess, that key chapter 53, where it does say if it's referencing the Messiah there. And like I said, again, there are other Judaisms that believe that there would be 2 Messiahs. One was going to be ridden on a donkey. One was going to die.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I read you something just really quick? Because I want to know where you think, what part of the book this comes from, okay?
Sure.
Also forbidden to you for marriage are your mothers, your daughters, your sisters, your paternal and maternal aunts, your brothers, daughters, your sisters' daughters, your any other of your mother-in-law or your stepdaughters under your guardianship if you have consummated marriage with their mothers. So what part do you think that comes from?
I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
Do you think
Please tell me. Please tell me.
My point is, you don't know anything about the Quran, okay? So if you don't know anything about the Quran, I could read you that and tell you it's from the Christian Bible, and I would say you would assume that's Old Testament, correct?
I mean, if I had to take a guess, right? But usually if you take a guess and you're posing a question, usually I'm going to be wrong. I might not say that. That's why I didn't say anything.
But my point is, like, if these people find Jews that don't know their own text, and just read them something, and it sounds vaguely familiar to things they have heard, and they assume that it's New Testament because it sounds vaguely familiar to something that they have heard, that doesn't give it credence that is what it is.
That could be absolutely, you're right. That could be definitely a good example of it. But
and I will say I do that example with many people, and you answered that the best way possible. Because most people say it's Old Testament.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to dogpile on you, Robert, but I'll just say this one last thing, which is, the problem with the prophecies is that really Isaiah 53 is the only prophecy that Christians can point to and say, well, this must be about Jesus. But it's pretty clear contextually that it's just about the nation of Israel, right? So that means your entire interpretation of the Old Testament prophecies has to get filtered through the Isaiah 53 lens, right? So the Isaiah 53 lens is the only thing in the Old Testament that can be twisted to infer that there's going to be a dying Messiah, right? So like once you take Isaiah 53 out of it, it's entirely clear that the Messiah is a victorious king, right? So like my interpretation of Isaiah 53 matches what the whole rest of the Old Testament says about the Messiah. The Christian interpretation of Isaiah 53 disagrees with what the Old Testament says about the Messiah. Therefore, you have to invent two different comings to make up for it. So personally, I just think my view is more parsimonious with the data, and that's why I hold it. The Christian interpretation of Isaiah...
Oh, sorry.
What about Isaiah when it calls him, when it calls it a mighty God, Father everlasting? What are your thoughts on those?
That's Isaiah chapter 9, and
9:6, yeah.
That's the enthronement psalm or the enthronement prophecy for King Hezekiah, which was pretty common. So we've got comparable Babylonian and Egyptian enthronement prophecies where they give their king these like deified names.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not saying that the person is God. These are deified names, theophoric names to describe the nature of the individual or the respect that they have. But it's also true that the name Hezekiah just means strong God or strong Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have a king named Hezekiah, mighty Yahweh, then yeah, you might give him a theophoric throne name that refers to this, strong God. That being said, the word Elohim has a pretty wide semantic range. It doesn't always refer to gods. A lot of times it just refers to any kind of a divine agent.
No. I got you. I mean, that's a... Yeah, but when I see... So when Adam and Eve, when they sinned, just to backtrack a second here, right? Do you know what God did when they sinned?
Well, he did a bunch of things, but my assumption is that you're referring to Genesis 3:15 when he gives the curse and he talks about the snake and it says, her seed, or you will bruise, his head and you will bruise his heel and he will crush your head. But everything in chapter 3 is clearly about snakes. It's not about Satan. So like Satan wasn't cursed to crawl on his belly. Satan doesn't crawl around on his belly. Snakes do. Snakes absolutely crawl around on their belly. Satan doesn't burrow in the ground and eat the dust of the earth. Snakes definitely do. It would be weird that God would curse snakes to live this life if they weren't even, if it wasn't the snake's fault. If Satan was actually doing it in the form of a snake, that's a weird curse for the snakes to take. So this to me sounds like a lot of ancient Near Eastern mythology where snakes are just kind of personified as like these enemies of mankind.
No, I understand where you're going with that topic. My topic was that he covered them in animal skins.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
Right. So he covered them in animal skins, so that's a relation that an animal died.
So what?
Right. So that was probably the illustration where everything's beautiful, everything's perfect, they're in this garden and they do this thing, and to cover them, right, he chose animal skins to sacrifice. And
but it never says he killed them. And God can just poof things into existence. He could have just poofed them. It never says that he unalived an animal to cover them.
Right, but he could have poofed them with anything. But no, and you make a good point. He doesn't say it, so I'm with you. But just me, like personally, like as a Catholic, I didn't know any of this, right? So it's like, wow, when you read Genesis and supposedly looking at it, I'm reading, interpreting that he killed an animal, and then we go into the sacrificial systems, and then we get the true sacrifice of Jesus. It kind of like with 40 different authors over a period of 1,500 years, I'm just like, wow, how can they? The New Testament, if it's made up and it's a cult and it's like a brewing off of like Buddhism, off of Hinduism, right? I'm just saying that the New Testament writers are pretty phenomenal people
Oh,
2,000 years ago.
I disagree. They contradict the Old Testament at every turn. But to the point of the leather, I
Mhm.
mean, God was already totally chill with killing the animals. That's why he accepted the animal sacrifice even before the. Oh, actually, that was after. I apologize. But
Okay.
sorry, my brain misfired. But anyways,
All the time.
either way, God killing the animal to clothe them so that they're not wearing the fig leaf to me is just kind of an irrelevant point of the story. Like I don't see how that gets you to Jesus. It's not
Yeah.
prophetic. Like you can't just take anything in a book and say, "Oh shit, that sounds vaguely illusory to something else," and just call it prophetic. If that was the case, I can go into the Bible, find you about 500 passages that prophesy me.
No, I'm just talking about personal experience. To me, it was one of the eye openers, one of them, right? My main eye opener in general are the Jews today. I'm not Jewish, like I said. That like the Jews being in our world events even to this moment, and getting their own country, in 1948, and then them beating 6 Muslim countries is phenomenal to me. It's like,
Well,
oh my goodness.
They had
But
the
if you
protection of the
talk
world
to-
behind them.
Yeah,
Oh, they didn't.
and if you
1948, they didn't. They had nobody.
So you think
That's not true at all. We literally created that land for them. Like we made a pact with the UK, with Great Britain, to cede that land over, and we offered the military defense to make that happen.
No, I'm with you. But in 1948, when they declared the nation on one day and they were attacked, the only thing they had, you can look this up. I had to look this up because again, it's like we shouldn't take people's word for granted, even if you're telling the truth. I like even the host when he mentioned Matthew 7. I got to look that up. I mean, I can't just let that slide. I mean, I have to like really look into things and what's going on. But so with Israel in 1948, they only had weapons. I think it was from Czechoslovakia. I think that they paid for the weapons. That's all they had when they fought the wars with the 6 Islam countries attacking them on that day.
But
So
that's not what happened in history.
In 1948, yes.
No.
Tell me.
So the state of Israel wasn't even formed until 1948. And the only reason the state of Israel was formed the way it was is because the land originally was Turkish and then taken over by the British Empire. And then the British Empire said, this is where we will designate Israel because we have to put Jews somewhere post World War II.
Right. I got you. No, I'm with you. Yeah. So when
So-
they declared a nation, the Muslim countries surrounding them declared war on them that day. Like they weren't having it. Like it's a holy city. How dare
You understand that Israel didn't win that war with just a few guns. Other countries came to help them.
They didn't. Please Google it. Tell me the sources. In 1948, there's no countries that helped them during that war. I don't know why. I thought they did too, because we're doing it today. We're supplying them with guns and all that kind of stuff.
And,
But
and
the
do you
fact
think
is,
that's a positive thing?
well, I don't want to switch topics. I'm just going back.
I need to say something real quick, you guys. I need to say something real quick. You have to stop saying like GUNS,
Oh, I
WAR.
apologize.
You guys have to mask your words, okay?
I
Robert?
apologize. You're
because
right.
we're on TikTok.
So we're not changing subjects. You literally said when I came into this room, I heard you saying, "Look, I base it on look at the Jews today,"
Yes.
and then you brought up Israel and how Israel
Yes.
has like beaten back. So you actually brought up the subject.
Okay,
I'm not
that's fine.
changing a subject. I'm going on the subject that you talk about. So
And
I don't know if
okay.
you've ever spoken to a Jew about it, but I'm a Jew.
Okay. So the
Thinking
topic is
that it's okay, thinking that so Israel was never supposed to be formed the way it was, not even according to the text, the biblical text. You understand that, right?
right. It's a lot more bigger, right? I'm with you.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
So the only time we are supposed to be gathered back together is when the Moshiach comes.
Okay.
That is the understanding of Jewish law, Moshiach's arrival. Before then, we are to be scattered across the world. So the invention of the land of Israel had nothing to do with biblical prophecy at all. It was a man-made land. Now, I can't say should it exist or shouldn't it exist, because the bottom line is it does exist. We don't
Right.
ask if France should or should not exist. It just exists. But according to our own law, it should not exist until the Moshiach comes.
So you're regarding Old Testament literature as
I'm
as
regarding
a role of
our
authority?
Talmudic law
Okay.
I'm regarding the Sanhedrin, I'm regarding the Old Testament, and I'm regarding the Talmud. Like, I'm regarding what Jews believe about the land of Israel.
All right, yeah, and now, and we're talking about like faiths and beliefs, right? Inside of it, of course, we're going to disagree who Jesus is. So, yeah, I mean, so
But I
there's
don't
a
know what
point.
that has to do with the
Thank
land
you
of
for
Israel.
sharing that, and thank you for letting me aware of that. But I'll research again for my own mindset. But I would wish everybody on the call too is like, what nations helped Israel in 1948? Now we can talk about the future now, but that was one of the topics that I was saying, that I was amazed that, you know, even the 6-Day War, that's another war that they should have lost, right? Like the what is the college in the United States that people go to study wars and become admirals and everything? Like they study all the wars, but they don't study the Israel
I
wars
really
because
have
they
to
could
have
have
you
lost.
stop saying that word, okay? You have to stop saying WARS. You have to. I can't.
You
You
mean
can't say
West
that on
Point.
TikTok.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm new to this. I apologize.
Yeah, you're speaking of West Point.
Yes, that location. Yeah, they study all those
They study
conflicts.
history through the
They study
military
conflicts,
conflict.
but they don't really go into the 1948 and the 6-Day because
They do.
They do.
We mobilize forces to go over there and join them. The United Nations mobilized forces to go over there. It was the United Nations Emergency Forces.
What time frame was that? They talking about the 6-Day or the 1948?
The 6-Day War. That's the one you were just talking about.
I was talking about the first
The
one. The
6-Day
1948
conflict.
was the initial one. That's the one I'm familiar where they didn't get any help, and I guess they should have been squashed that day.
I suspect that not to be the case as well. We can look that one up too.
Yeah, please.
I don't have my computer right in front of me. I think that he is doing it. I was just like, when I came into the room, you were discussing like that you base it on Jews today, but if the way you're basing it on Jews today is based in a land that according to Jews is not supposed to be ours until the Moshiach arrives, until then we're supposed to be scattered, then how are you basing it on Jews today?
So I don't take the that the Talmud or the Sanhedrin or
Talmudic?
yeah, I don't look at that as currently I don't, you know, because I don't know anything. Someone had to come and teach me and show me, and we have to like examine it like you guys are examining these particular topics. You know what I mean? Like I said, my mind's not closed to anything by any means, because I hate when other people's minds are closed.
I didn't think you were.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that you mentioned you based it on Jews today, but the what you're basing it in is in reality not something that Jews have ever talked about. So if you're basing it on Jews, then it's not us that you're actually basing it in.
There's more of an ongoing action with them. So for one instance, right, as a Catholic, right, when it talks about Jews in Revelation, right, so Jews are like, they're not coming back, you know, in the 1800s for the longest time. The Catholics decided, hey, they're not going to become their own nation. It's not happening. So we need to get this Revelation book, and we got to teach that the word Jews is now referring to believers. So it's a symbolism. Let's not say that they're saying, yeah, that's what Catholics do. So when it's talking about Revelation, you know, when they're coming back and they're going to get planet and they're going to look at our Messiah and we're all going to be like as one, right? Like they don't believe that. They just say, hey, when it mentions Jews in Revelation as a prophecy, it's meaning believers. This whole Jewish thing of them as nations is not going to happen. So that's the doctrine that they stuck with, right? Me, on the other hand, when I see the nation and I see, you know, the Catholics, you know, changing word placement theology, you know, also as in modern day, I mean, like when you see like hatred toward the Jews from the right, you know, fascism, and you see it from way on the left, you see that they're supposed to still provide propheticness in the book, in the New Testament. And if the devil can destroy the Jews by any means, then God's plan doesn't come true. So that's why I think, if you look at the Jews today, why they're probably one of the most, besides Christians, targeted group in the world.
Christians are not targeted. Like
Google that, please.
Christians are not
Google that.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
That.
The only place in the world.
Google. What is the
The
number one
only
I'm gonna
persecuted
Google
religion?
it because
the
Google
only
isn't
place
the
in
end
the
all
world.
be
Then what's the
all.
answer? Tell me what the
The
answer is,
only
please.
place, the only place in the world where Christianity is the not the predominant religious group is
Okay.
parts of the Middle East.
Okay. And right. And so I'm including
So
that.
everywhere across the planet, besides parts of
Right.
the Middle
Right.
East, Christianity is the dominant religion.
Robert, like
Yeah.
when I was a Christian, I was always told like China, going to China was like a death sentence for Christians.
Okay.
After doing real research, I found that it is one of their 3 nationally founded religions. I think that there's a lot of things that we're told as Christians that just simply are not true, that we take at face value.
And you know what? I'm not saying that I could be wrong on that, but the fact is I was stunned. I'm like, what do you mean? What are the number one persecuted religion? That doesn't make any sense. But number one, our media doesn't do it. But if you've done it, there's other ministry, like millions of Christians died in Iraq, right? Like, it's true of how many seconds a
Unalived.
person dies. So a lot of these sources come from other countries. It's not the United States that's posting any of this stuff. You know what I mean? So, but if you Google what is the number one persecution, I believe all the topics should point to Christianity. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Jews and
okay.
Muslims are most likely to live in countries where their groups experience harassment.
Also, I did look up the 1948-1949 war, and Europe did provide military assistance, and even the French military provided air raids and air support for the war.
Oh, 1940. Okay, that's something I got to research too. I was told that they just had the guns during those initial war times
You
that they
can't
should have
say
been.
that word. Like
Okay,
you've been told
I'm sorry.
that twice.
It's bad. I apologize.
Yeah,
Robert,
but
I think. Sorry, I think you're a nice guy, Robert. I think when I was a Christian, I heard a lot of these same talking points too, and I was willing to believe them because they came from people or websites that I trusted. But the reality is, like, maybe you should just push a little bit deeper when you hear these claims, because maybe they're not quite as fantastical as you think.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, like, of course, I have to. You know what I mean? Because I'm apparently not speaking all my facts straight on this particular call. So, like I said before, like, if what I'm in the truth, and if I'm going to stick with it, either that's what's going to happen. Either I'm going to fall out and find stuff, or I'm going to more strengthen my faith. Because it's if Christianity is true, it's the number one problem that the church failed in teaching their people the Bible.
Right,
Let's be
and
honest.
I think you're trying to do the right thing. I think you're trying to be honest with your journey, and I definitely applaud you in that.
You have to be, yeah.
So, like, we totally back you on that. We're just trying to provide you, because, like, so Rabbi Hannah is well trained. She's a legitimate, educated rabbi.
Right.
The host Joyful was legitimately a pastor. I went to
Right.
Bible college and seminary. All of us
Okay.
came to the same conclusion that the New Testament isn't true and it fundamentally misunderstands the Old Testament. So I'm just saying, you have some pretty, like, people who are really deep into the educational aspect. So all we're suggesting is maybe the talking points that you've heard are not as convincing as they should be.
No, I'm with you. So what do you guys think? What are the 4 topics that you think I should focus on, and maybe the truth will either be there or not? So what are, like, give me some top 3, like, things.
I would focus first on the prophecies and actually read all of the listed prophecies that Christianity claims Jesus fulfilled, and go actually read through them. Thank you for that, Justin. Thank you for being up here. You dropped abruptly, but I'm guessing you had things to do. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. That was awesome, Robert. But that I would really just say that for right now is
prophecies.
And come back. I am live every Thursday and Monday. Justin is live Wednesdays and Thursdays, or
Right.
Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm Monday and Thursdays. Come up, come up and do some of this research, and then we can talk a little more about it.
I would suggest, if I can ask, what translation of the Bible do you currently use?
So I'll go on the New King James. I'll go on New Living Translation. I'll go on I think they're probably the top two I
Okay.
use.
If I might make a suggestion, I think the first thing, if you're trying to get into understanding biblical scholarship or the Bible as it was written and situating it in its contextual source, I would suggest a really good NRSV UE, a study Bible that I like currently, and I say currently because the Oxford 6th edition is supposed to be out hopefully this year, is the SBL Study Bible. Yes, I am a member of the Society of Biblical Literature, but that's not why I push it. There's a lot of good commentaries in there from colleagues of mine who break down the times of the writings of all of these books, how they were situated, how they were gathered. So I would first say get yourself a really good study Bible that is a really good translation to it, and really start there.
Okay.
Robert,
Yeah,
before
for
you
sure.
leave, I have to ask you a quick question, okay? Does anybody ever tell you that you sound like Christopher Walken?
No, I never got
You
Christopher
do.
Walken.
There is
You
there is a
do.
hint of that. I was wondering who I was hearing in his voice, but
I
yeah,
thought more Tony
that's
Soprano,
definitely in there.
but
That's too
like
funny.
I literally was thinking more Tony
Right.
Soprano.
Robert, thanks for coming up. I appreciate you. You are a great guest. You are welcome back anytime. Come back. I told you one more live. I would love to talk to you again as you do research on these topics.
That sounds good. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
All right, we're good.
And as always, thank you, Joyful. I was invited up by Reverend because I was in the comments going, that's not what happened. So I always appreciate spending a little time with you.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys have a great live. I'm here listening for a little while
Thank
I'm
you.
getting some stuff done.
Thank you, Rabbi. You are much appreciated. If you guys aren't following Rabbi Hannah, she has a lot of insights, especially on the Old Testament, that Christianity doesn't teach you because they look at it under the scope of it having to match the New Testament. So they don't worry about the contradictions. It has to fit their narrative. Whereas people that are very involved in Judaism look at it for what it is. Tiny Smalls, thanks for being here. He does great debate lives as well. Smallsvilla, or Smallszilla, make sure you're following him as well.
Hey, Rob, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. So I just joined, and I only heard the rabbi ask to do like what Bible he reads, but I've read the Bible, I read the gospel. Yeah, so I'm a believer. And I read the book in the doctor's office too, the Bible story.
Okay. What version was more what she was talking about than the books you read? So like KJV, NASB, NRSVUE.
I read the NIV.
NIV, yeah, that's a great book, Rob. How often do you read it?
I read it once, but I have good memory retention. I retain everything I read. So
Nice,
you can
nice.
ask me anything.
Yeah, so do you
Yes,
think
I'm a
Jesus ever
God-fearing
lied?
dude. I don't go around picking fights with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, you're a good guy. Thank you guys for being here. Keep tapping them likes, keep sharing out the live. Hopefully we can get some more ops up in here. Rob is a known troll. I thought I'd bring him up here for a minute and give him a little bit, but I quickly got over that. And we have people over here in the Video Ninja, so we're gonna hop over here to a Video Ninja chat.
Okay, when you're doing this, I'm gonna do golf play by play. Like I'm gonna do, Joel did this the other night. It was funny. I'm gonna go. Okay, so now the guest is going to pivot.
There you go. That'll work. Over there on Video Ninja, are you with us? You are unmuted. We have two guests over there. Whoever speaks first will get dibs on this because it doesn't tell me how long you've been in there. If you are on Video Ninja, go ahead and let me know you are with us. Otherwise, we will just hang up your call and move on to something else. We are out of guests, but guys, this has been a great live. We've been over 200 people, 170 right now. Hopefully here soon, I want to do a live for Pride Month. And I think Thursday, but I'm trying to get some special guests, especially from the trans community, some people that I have become friends with. That I think I do a lot of talking about, like, the gay portion of LGBTQ, but I don't do a whole lot of talking about the trans community because I'm not trans. I don't understand any of that. So I have a few people that I'm trying to get on board to come up and like talk about a little bit of their experience when we're doing those lives. Hopefully here soon I will get some. I've actually made some friends recently from that community, and Galilea I sent out a message to. I want to like kind of give them a voice as well here on my channel because we know that we're here to spread love, spread truth, and spread light among this world. And if this can help them or help people in our community that may be struggling with trans identity, may be struggling with gender dysphoria, may have these things that they don't feel comfortable with, I want to bring some people on that can make you see that you are beautiful as you are, and you, like, be you. Be you. It's about your happiness. It's about you living who you are. And that's really why I want to kind of make that a center point this month, because I think that would be amazing. That would be amazing for the channel, and it would be amazing for people.
Set you up. My son-in-law is trans, and I think that he would approve. And I'm really proud of you for doing that.
Does he have a TikTok?
Yes, I think so. He's in our Discord. He's just very quiet.
If he would like, well, if he'd ever want to come up and share a bit of his story, he's more than welcome.
Where you'll find great food.
Because I think a lot of it is people, to be honest, is people are uneducated. And when people are uneducated on people and their walk of life, they don't understand it. And I think the more we are educated, the more we know people and get to know people, the more that wall is going to fall. And it's going to be like, it's no longer going to be that divide of understanding.
Absolutely. Welcome back, Justin.
Hi. Yes, I'm sorry. I was running some bathwater, and someone says that Joyful was giving out dibs on himself, and I didn't know if I needed to pull a ticket.
Yeah. If you want to get in the drawing for a piece of Joyful, all you got to do is become a member over on the YouTube channel, and we will do a drawing of who gets a piece of Joyful.
That's why I'm not a member.
That was a joke. I'd have to get my wife on board for that. No, I don't think that's going to happen. Does Holly know about this? No, that's why it was a joke. Do we get to pick which piece?
But like, would you at least consider like a spread? You know, maybe 2 full pages.
I mean,
calendar.
I think I could do a little bit of that.
I think we're gonna do a deconstruction calendar, so all you guys better start getting some beach bodies going, because we're gonna have you guys all take pictures. The men of the deconstruction community TikTok.
I think first off, I'm gonna have to start remembering to take my thyroid medication, because that is a hard one for me because it makes me feel like, so I'm always pushing it off, like further into the day, and then I don't take it, which is not good. So yeah, it'll be hard for me, but I will try. Justin, I mean, the pastor will tell you, Justin, when he wears them tank tops, god damn.
Justin was talking about being in the middle of a mezzo Joel sandwich earlier today. I'm just telling you guys.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed.
I heard Pastor stutter when I walked in last time. He straight up stuttered in the middle of his sermon.
He did. Like, when he thinks of you, he DMs me a lot, and he's really into you, Justin. But I wouldn't be opposed to a mezzo Joel sandwich. That would probably be like the one hall pass I would ask for my wife.
You know,
Is
I
it
pictured
like a
Joyful
bringing that up? It's
his-
like,
Actually, that's a pretty good idea.
Joyful,
I
you
think I
sit
could
on your Chromebook, and then you message your I am pastor, and then you pick up your phone, and then you respond, and then you just go back and forth.
Not quite, but something like that. I do respond to him when he comments on a video, but I've never like DM'd him. I think that would be a little too much. Trolling myself would be like a whole new category.
Typically,
maybe I could. Maybe I could make it.
Requires medication. Sorry.
Maybe I could go like make a Discord where like people can read the messages between me and Pastor.
I think
Or something
that,
like that.
would be good. You could do that on your channel too. But you know what else we could do? I could do a sub-only live, and you and Pastor could be my guests down there, and then you guys could like debate each other, and I could moderate. I'm
I
just
would
saying
say
people
that-
have been wanting it.
I would say that day I'm probably not going to look the best, so I'm probably going to have to like have like just a green screen and not my face showing.
That's fine. And the pastor never has his camera on, so you guys could be with the camera off. That's fine. A lot of these debates that like Coco does and stuff, they have their cameras off. I'm sorry, we have a lot of funky music playing in the background right now. Aaron, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
38.
Are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? God is evil. What say you?
I think you've got it quite opposite there. I think God is holy, and I think the only evil people that are walking this earth is human beings.
Okay, what's your definition of holy?
Holy is perfection. Holy is without wrong. Holy is never wrong.
Do you believe God ever gives bad laws, or all of his laws are good?
I think all of his laws are good for what these evil people or us in being evil, right? I think that's what we deserve. We
Okay, when God gave a law, you think it was good?
I do.
Oh, good.
I think it was justified.
You think it was justified?
I think it was justified for evil people. You know the old age verbiage or saying of why do bad things happen to good people? That's never happened.
All right. I'm going to read you this law that your God said, and you're going to tell me if
That's
this is
just
good or
something you
not.
believe.
Nope. It's literally what your God said in his book. Do you believe the Bible is true?
I believe the Bible is true.
Okay. So in his book, he says in Deuteronomy 21:10, when you go out to war against your enemies and the Lord your God hands them over to you, and you take them captives, suppose you see among one of these captives a beautiful woman whom you desire to marry. So you bring her into your house, she shall shave her head and cut her nails, discard her captive's garb, and remain in your house for a full month, mourning for her father and mother. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you are not satisfied with her, you shall let her go free, and certainly not sell her for money. Do you think that's a good law or a bad law?
I think that's a good law for the time and what
So
was
you
going
think,
on.
yeah, so you think at some point in time, raping women was a good law?
What I'm saying is that those are very barbaric times, in the sense that there wasn't a police officer at every corner. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
so
saying.
God said you could grape women. So you think
No,
it's
that's
good that
not what
God
he's
said you
saying.
can grape? Yeah, he does.
No, he's
What is he? So you think there isn't grape in this law?
no. What I'm telling you is,
Is there graping of women in
can I
this
answer
law
the
that God
question?
gave?
Or are you gonna
Yeah,
try to like
is
pin me
there
down
graping?
on an
Is there
answer you want to hear?
graping? Is there graping of women in this law?
I think that some of those women were raped. Yeah,
Okay, who gave this law?
God,
Okay, so God gave a law where it's okay to grape women, correct?
He did.
Okay, so now anything you say is just going to be an apologetic for why it's okay to grape women in certain
No, I'm not.
contexts.
I'm not gonna apologize for God, because here's where you lack understanding. Here's where you lack understanding. You
He
allow me to
doesn't
say
know
something. No,
anything
hold on
by
a
that.
second.
He
I
doesn't know
haven't
what
got to respond.
apologetics mean.
I haven't got
No,
to
he doesn't.
respond. I haven't got to
I'm
respond.
allowed to talk to the host. Like that. That
No,
he has to do
I'm
it because
weakening
of us.
myself.
Yes, you're making him impotent. He is impotent because of you.
I,
Absolutely impotent. Hey,
So
Jim,
why
can
am
I
I
get your
sad?
age?
Seen one.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I have 3 children. Okay, Jim. Okay, pumpkin. Did you
Okay,
want to have a
pumpkin.
conversation or do you want us to continue doing this?
Yes, I want to have a conversation, but stop talking so loud.
Jim?
You can
Jim,
turn
is
down your
God...
volume, dumbass.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, Jim,
Yes, sir.
are you just here to crash out, or are you here to have a conversation?
No, I won't crash out. Let's have a conversation.
Well, you already... Okay. So do you think God is love or evil?
Well, I know that he's not evil, for sure, so he's got
How
to
do you
be
know
love.
that?
How do I know that? Because I know God is my savior, so I know he's not evil.
Okay, so what is love according to the Bible?
Why do you have
that they are taking something out of context if you don't even know the context.
I'll clean this up, by the way.
Okay. I just let me ask you this. Okay, how do you know God is evil? I mean, in order for you to understand,
He's telling you, but you're not following the conversation. You're not listening to what he's reading you and putting two and two together. You have to listen to what Joyful's saying instead of thinking about what you're going to say next and try to comprehend what he's saying and listen to the questions that he asks you when he gets done reading it.
Yeah, so is selling your daughter as a slave evil or good?
it is evil.
Okay, so God gave you evil laws.
Are you saying God wants our daughters to be sold? Is that what you're saying? I mean, there are like
that is God giving laws.
Yeah, you're like picking one thing.
No, I'm not picking just one thing. Even Jesus says that the Pharisees are worshiping God in vain because they don't stone children that curse their parents. Do you think that's something good that was taught by Jesus? Choo-choo.
He's gone.
He gone.
He did not expect for there to be a conversation. He did not want that to be a back and forth.
I don't think so. Guys, listen. I know you all follow Justin, okay? Justin is amazing. Justin is, he's amazing, but
he's alright.
Justin, I wanted him to come up today, not for views, not for anything else. I wanted Justin to come up because I am going to be a little vulnerable with everybody in here. I have lived a long time with a lot of friends. But I never understood friendship, like, at a real level until Justin and Benny. And Crystal. Those three have shown me friendship in a way that I never understood. These three, I wish Benny was still up here, help me see the same thing kind of my wife helped me see. My wife helped me see what it was to love somebody because I didn't understand that for the first 17 years of our marriage. Justin, Benny, and Crystal showed me what it was to be somebody's friend. It's not just about give and take. It's not just about what I give to them to make them like me. It's about actually a reciprocal caring about one another. And these three especially have shown me this in a way I never understood, like, on a real level. And I just wanted to say that before I end this live. I'm going to end this live soon because I am wore out. But I want you guys to know that Justin is more than just, like, a good debater. He's just a good fucking dude. Crystal is more than just her lives and moderating for me. She is an awesome person. And Benny is more than just somebody that looks out for this group of people. He is a good person.
Hey man, we love you.
For sure. And I know that. And that's something new for me, is knowing that people actually care. We have another guest. Let me see what it is. I am going to end my live soon though. So this will be our last guest regardless. So if you're over in YouTube, don't bother going to Video Ninja.
He just dropped. He just dropped.
But I am exhausted. I had a long weekend, and I am ready for bed. But I just want to say that before we drop down. Justin, thanks for being here. Crystal, as always, you are awesome and amazing, and you keep these lives going. We love you all. Make sure that you tune in Wednesday for Justin's live, Thursday for mine. Thursday will be live 6 p.m. Central Time. Crystal will be live Wednesday morning for Non-Believers Bible Study.
And
I'm
can
not
I
sure.
plug something real quick?
Yep, plug something else too.
Decon Q&A with Crystal J tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific time with Born Again Atheists. So if you love Born Again Atheists, join me tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific time for Decon Q&A with Crystal J. Hey, Daniel Green. And Daniel Green is going to be on my show. We can't get our schedule together, but Daniel's going to be on my show someday. I promise. I'm going to keep putting that carrot out there, you know?
Daniel Green's conversations are on point. Like, he conducts himself in such a great way. And, like, and most of the time, even when he has, like, guests that are, like, freaking out, he has a good way of, like, bringing them back down to, like, a conversation level, which I don't understand. Like, once I have a guest freaking out, it's just like, this guest is fucking crazy. But he has a weird way about him to, like, bring the conversation back.
He's
He
like,
really does.
like I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed in you. I'm like, oh fuck. All right.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yep.
He's got that accent, and you know, that makes everybody just go, he's so nice.
Guys-
Even the most hateful Christians become butter in his hands.
They do, and I don't get it, but it is amazing, and I love Daniel. And one night we will get him up here in the live. We are going to have to work out something to where, like, I'm going to go live later, maybe take off, like, early morning and start
Take it
my
off.
work day.
Oh, sorry, I got carried away. Go ahead.
Great White North.
We'll have to, like, take off early in the morning and start later. But, or something to where I can stay up later so that me and Daniel can do a live together, because I would love nothing more than to have him up on my live. I've been up on his a couple times, but usually I'm driving, so I can't go up, but Daniel is amazing, guys. Make sure you're following him. Love you all. I'm going to, call it a night, though. You guys are all amazing.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We love you. Thank you for 102,000 likes. Thank you for all the gifts and the shares and making the gift goal. And Justin, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great to be with you. Thanks for letting me up.
Justin, you are always welcome on my lives. I do want to say this, though. We actually broke a record tonight between the two lives on likes. We last set the record at 151,000, but we had 53,000 when we ended the last live. So we are at 156,000 likes right now. I appreciate you guys
That's
so
awesome.
much. That broke a new record on likes. I appreciate you so much.
Let's raid Leaving Faith. Everybody raid Leaving
Leaving
Faith,
Faith.
and
Yep.
tell them Joyful sent you. Good night, everybody.